9 centuries ago, the mana tree burned to ashes. The power of mana lived on inside mana stones, enchanted instruments, and artifacts. Sages fought with each other for control of these last remnants of mana. Then, after 100 years of war, as the power of mana began to wane, those who sought it grew scarce, and the world returned to peace. After that, mankind grew afraid to desire, their hearts filled with empty emotions, and grew estranged from my hands. They turned their eyes away from my infinite power, and were troubled by their petty disputes. Remember me. Need me. I can provide you with everything. I am the Square Roots podcast. Find me and walk beside me.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zandt.
Is my microphone picking up the sound of my cat purring?
I can kind of hear the gruffness of that cat licking your beard. It's disturbing. Also joined by John Niccolo Brandon.
Niccolo, really? Niccolo?
Yeah, you're gonna. That's
Can I be
you
Diddle?
This episode. John Diddle Brandon and Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast.
Can I ask a question up front?
Sure.
Whose mom or dad did the tree fuck this time?
Was that a thing in the last mana game? Did the tree fuck somebody?
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That was so long ago. In what year did we play Secret of Mana?
2016.
When did it come out? 1983,
okay.
I think.
Yikes.
Jim.
John.
Barack Obama was still president when we
Wow.
played that game.
Oh my lord.
That was our second episode and my first episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Seems like a lifetime ago. Well, I guess we should say we're playing Legend of Mana now. The game that you have to look at a guide for.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to a tree that fucked somebody. I'm looking forward to some sort of flamboyant Batman vampire. I'm looking forward to Santa Claus making an appearance.
That's one of my big questions about the series is
all your Secret of Mana classics.
Yeah, when is Santa Claus showing up?
Where's the Frost Gigas? Where's Santa Claus?
We already had that. In this chunker, I gotta say, the Denver the Last Dinosaur does show up. In fact, pretty much all the early bosses show up from Secret of Mana.
All our
that's
old
true.
friends. The Vor dinosaur, the Rabbites, the Mush Booms,
Vanessa,
The Chobins?
It is.
Chobins.
It's charming. Maybe we should save this for the actual show. But it is. I do find myself charmed by Secret of Mana. Once again, by the Mana series, I should say. Once again.
Yeah. Well, we're playing Legend of Mana. I keep wanting to call it Secret of Mana. Legend of Mana. But before we get into that, because I think there's a lot to talk about, let's go ahead and get into the level ups. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and get mine out of the way. I'm not going to be on the next episode because I'm going on vacation. I'm leaving in a couple days, and I'm going to go stay in Chicago for a week. And I'm going to go to Lollapalooza.
What?
Yeah. I'm going to...
Is this 1995?
Well, yeah. You would be surprised because Journey is playing and Limp Bizkit is playing a set.
Is Green Day gonna be there?
No Green Day. Jimmy Eat World is going to be there, though. I'm excited about that. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Is Hot Heat gonna be there?
No Hot Heat.
Bowling for Soup?
No. Miley Cyrus and a band I'm excited to see called the Front Bottoms. They're going to be there. And a bunch of other people. I feel very old listening to the rest of the folks that are going to be there, but it'll be fun.
Oh.
Are they going to have like chairs and cooling tents because a lot of elderly people will be there and they're going to need some extra support in the summer heat?
Yes, and one of the reasons that I'm excited about going is that I got a GA Plus ticket, which means you get access to like the air-conditioned area with more seating and like shorter drink lines and food lines and shade.
Wow, you got the grown-up pass.
Yeah, just a little short of VIP. It'll be a good time. And I don't have to really pay for hotel because my sister lives in Chicago or outside of Chicago in a suburb. So that's also good. I'll have a nice, comfortable place to stay with a pool.
A pool.
And you get to see your sister.
And I get to see my sister. I haven't seen her in like 2 or 3 years, so that'll be good.
Oh, dang.
But, I mean, you share psychic thought links with her.
No,
so.
that's Kaylee. She doesn't live in Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is one of
okay.
my older sisters.
Ah.
Yeah. John, how did you level up since we last spoke yesterday?
Well, I made sure to save something for this time. So I leveled up by purchasing, which will eventually be via Patreon funds, a MacBook Air for editing.
Ooh, exciting.
It is very exciting. And I brought a bunch of my old Apple stuff to get a discount. So like I got $200 for my old laptop. I got $150 for my old cell phone just to sort of knock some cost off of the thing. And it's pretty fancy and neat, and I like it. It's got
Congratulations
the
on your
M1.
new electronics purchase.
Thank you. That's all I've ever wanted to hear. So otherwise, I just downloaded Watch Dogs Legion for the Xbox Series X. I haven't really got to play it yet because I was playing a game called Legend of Mana last night.
I'm pretty sure I own that game, John, and I played a couple hours of it, and it didn't really hook me. I will say it's a good game, like it feels good to play, but didn't really hook me.
I will say that if you want ray tracing on, it drops the frame rate by half to 30.
Ooh.
But like the difference, like it's really neat. Like as a tech demo, you can sort of see. But I feel like some newer games do the ray tracing, like Resident Evil 8 and stuff, do the ray tracing without the big performance hit, or Doom Eternal. You can like really check out cool ray tracing stuff in Doom Eternal. That
Resident Evil 8 with the ray tracing on, like I thought it looked fantastic, and you don't need that extra 30 frames. It's not like it's a precision shooter. I need that 60 frames per second for PUBG.
Gross. I don't want to play a game at 30 frames per second. It looks bad, and I am too snobby. I say turn off ray tracing, get the good performance. It's still got reflections and stuff. They're just not ray traced. They're screen space, but it still looks great and controls and looks so much better. So that's my advice. Julio came over last week and played Doom Eternal for 2 hours, I want to say.
Really?
And he loved it. And so I'm bad at that game, so it's nice watching him play it and getting pretty far.
Yeah.
And just, that game looks amazing.
I can see
I love
watching
Doom Eternal.
I can see watching Jim stream those games, but like I get bored of them. About halfway up to 5-10 hours in, I'm like, okay. Like the best you're gonna do is maybe like some enemies that move differently and shoot different stuff. I'm done. I've seen it.
Well, Doom Eternal has that new enemy that will that has like the dog summon thing that will chase you and will block all of your shots, and you got to be like real quick. Like it'll get like a red glint in his eye, and you got to shoot him real quick. It's like the hardest enemy that's in Doom Eternal. That game is so fun. I love that game.
I bought a couple of other games on Super Sale. I did buy one called, I want to say Gravel. It's like a racing rally game that Julio likes, and so it's good to have a buddy who wants to play it couch co-op. And
Yeah.
Cool.
that one's it was on Super Sale. And I also got the Contra collection by M2, who also
Cool.
does the collection of mana, which does not include this game, but it's also an M2
Why do I own that?
joint. Collection of mana?
Yeah. Why did I buy that with
don't you-
Patreon funds? Like,
I don't know.
6 months
'Cause
ago.
We're gonna
3 months ago.
play for the bonus.
Maybe I just got it
this
because it
month.
was on sale and I figured.
Yeah, and the bonus this month is gonna be for that. Although you might want to do the new 3D version that you already own on your phone. I think. Don't you?
I actually would really love to do the new 3D Secret of Mana.
Gross.
That's
No
where
thanks.
my head's at.
Well,
Why is it
I don't
gross,
know. I
John?
might agree with him. It doesn't. I'm not sure that it really looks very good, but I still want to play it for myself. You know.
yeah. Well, go nuts. But yeah, you can play the 3D version of Adventure of Mana. And we can talk about it at the end of the month.
Yeah, I have that on my phone. So that'll be the August bonus app.
You're gonna be the August bonus step. Boom. Yeah.
Got him.
I got him. Vanessa, how did you level up?
I saw the movie that they don't want you to see. I watched a movie called The Hunt. Y'all
Why don't
remember
they want you
The
to see it?
Hunt when it came out?
Yeah, that's the one with the $1 Million Baby lady that like got canceled because it came out around the time of like a mass shooting.
Yeah. Republicans got mad because it's essentially a remake of The Most Dangerous Game. The book where this rich guy kidnaps people to his island and hunts them. But in this version, the rich people kidnap people who they consider to be deplorables, aka like Trump supporters and internet trolls and things like that, and hunt them. And conservatives got mad because they somehow believed that this movie was endorsing this idea, which, spoiler, the rich people who are kidnapping and hunting people are not the heroes of this film. So I don't really.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah,
not the
so-
point of The Most Dangerous Game.
It almost seems like this is propaganda going the other way, that liberals are going to get so out of hand that they'll start murdering people for being
That
conservative.
seems to be the case. So I don't really understand why they canceled it, but there was fear that should this movie go ahead and be shown in theaters, there would be some kind of incident or something, because
Didn't Donald Trump mention it at one point, and that maybe was part of why people were
that's
freaking out?
certainly possible. I only kind of vaguely remember what happened because that part of my brain was replaced with more pressing concerns related to the same dynamic. But I thought it was a fine little horror movie. It stars Betty Gilpin, and she was fantastic in it. If you are not familiar with Betty Gilpin, then you're like me, because I wasn't either. But she's great. I really enjoyed her. I guess she's mostly a character actress, and I can't really pick something she's been like a lead in before, but she plays this pretty nuanced character, and she was great. And Hilary Swank.
How does it compare with Surviving the Game with Rutger Hauer?
That's
Ice-T,
the movie
and
I wanted to
Charles S.
talk about
Dutton?
too. And John, you cannot forget Gary Busey.
Ah, yes, of course.
I don't think I've seen Surviving the Game, so you would have to watch it for yourself.
Aw.
It's a very great 90s action
Yes.
movie.
I imagine it's about the same sort of thing, rich people hunting people.
Yeah, they pluck a homeless Ice-T and hunt him, and he ends up murdering everybody.
Wow. The description...
Spoiler alert!
The description of Vanessa's movie is a contemporary retelling involving liberal elites hunting deplorables. This really does sound like, it's on the same level as that Michael Bay movie about how they'll keep being COVIDs and keep being lockdowns because liberal elites want to get you down. You know,
Yeah.
that one that was supposed to come out.
I think that they were going more for like a we make fun of both sides kind of thing, but honestly, as a political satire, it's pretty toothless. Like, it's really tame. It did not deserve the kind of reaction that it got, for sure. But again, like, if I were to pick like who they were trying to portray as villainous and terrible, it would be rich people and rich liberals specifically. So that's it.
Huh.
But I didn't find it offensive, like, against liberals. It was more like sort of like a Get Out, you know? Those people were also rich liberals.
Oh, okay. So, did you cheer when Sorge Joros got killed, and you're like, "Yeah, take that!"
Yeah, I was like, "You get him, you get him, Sorge. I mean, you get that Sorge." Yeah, and I don't know. It was fine. Like, it's exactly what you would expect it to be. A sort of middling action horror thriller comedy. Watch The Hunt. It's on HBO.
Also, can I just say, Betty Gilpin.
Wow, wow, wee
She's
wah.
pretty.
Say wow, wow, wee wah.
Wow, wow, wee wah.
Wow, I
I'm
guess
surprised
Jim is a
Jim's
fan.
next. I'm surprised Jim's choice for our bonus episode for whatever his month is not Family Matters Part 2.
It could be.
I floated the idea out last week when I saw that feature interview with what's the name of the dad, the actor, Reginald Del Johnson. He did an interview on the AV Club last week, and I was like, I think it's time for another Did I Do
Well,
cast.
he's going to be in that Turner and Hooch one. Oh, I think it just came out.
Yeah, that's
right?
what the interview was about. Yeah,
I can't.
he's revising.
So are they? That's a show
he's-
on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah,
So are
Yeah.
they killing a dog at the end of every episode?
yeah, basically, and like with the squib packs, like so you really
Yeah.
know that dog's internal.
What do
organs
they
have
do
been
at the end of the
obliterated.
season? Do they just kill a whole fucking pack of dogs, or do they like? Do
whole
they
litter.
do all the puppies and they kill all the puppies? Like, how are they gonna keep this going? Is everybody done? Has everybody leveled up but me? Are we done?
I'm not done.
Fuck, why is it always
Oh.
you?
I also watched the Fear Street movies.
Oh!
I thought they were fine.
Oh.
Well, at least you didn't hate him.
Yeah, I didn't hate them. I watched all three
What's
of
the
them.
hate, you know?
It was fun. The
soundtracks are-
It sort of reminded me of, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I like the
And
idea
I
of them
like Are
kind
You
of...
Afraid of the Dark.
I liked the concept of them taking, like, kind of a lesser well-known kids horror property and maybe, like, maturing it up a little with, like, blood and guts. I would like to see them do
I think
more
the
with
R.L.
this.
Stein stuff specifically is very easy to like level up to being pretty gory and horrific, and still being entertaining. Like it's got those books have good meat on them.
I would
you
love
know?
to play a little game of, like, if you were in charge of a Goosebumps trilogy of movies for Netflix, what are your 3 picks, you know?
Oh man, I would love to do that.
What's Vanessa?
I never read Goosebumps.
Wow, what a fucking dork. Okay.
Even that old Goosebumps series that had that episode of with the haunted mask is still pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
Like she puts on a scary mask that she can't take
Yeah.
off. That is just a
The
horrific.
Haunted
Oh,
Mask
yeah.
is
I
one
like
of my
it.
big ones, and I also really loved the photo that, like, you slowly start to vanish.
Say cheese and
Yeah,
die.
that's a good one. And then there's the ooze. The monster ooze one's okay. What's
The ooze one is good. I remember the beast from the
Yeah.
east being good. Shocker on Shock Street, that was a good one.
oh
Shocker
that
on
fucking
Shock Street.
ventriloquist doll,
Mm-hmm.
perfect creepy little monster.
The one with the little sponge that wanted to eat you, called That Came From Under the Sink,
Oh, I remember that one.
was also good.
Anyway,
I want a sponge to eat me. Oh, no.
that sounds like that sounds fun. I hope they do something like that. Vanessa.
Me too.
I also watched a movie that I had never seen, but it's a classic called The Witches of Eastwick.
Wow.
It's on HBO Go, and you should watch it if you haven't seen it. It's got Cher, Susan Sarandon, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Jack Nicholson, and it's a little gem.
I hate that movie. I hate it.
Yo, you hate it? Why?
That movie.
What do you hate about it?
Tell us why. Tell us why.
I just found it awful. I just hated every second of that awful film.
Is that the one with Jack Nicholson as the warlock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the one where like the woman has the baby and then it's the Antichrist? It's Warlock. Do you know how many times I watched the movie Warlock when I was a kid because it thought it sounded cool, but in reality,
that's Warlock.
I'd always to get it home and remember that it's just like a really boring movie about a dude walking around.
A lot of those like late 80s, early 90s supernatural movies, like those later Omen films or the Prophecy films, or like in your mind you like, yeah, those are good, and then you go watch them and they're not good at all.
My favorite is The Master of Illusion.
Ooh, wasn't that a 90s movie?
I guess it was.
I
always get Master of Illusion mixed up with Wishmaster, and I know they're very different movies.
Right. They are.
But in my mind, I keep getting them mixed up.
I have a movie that's been on the tip of my tongue
Wish?
for several years that I can't remember, where like a kid, his house is like infested with monsters or ghosts or some shit, and he like his parents aren't there. I think it maybe was like a Tales from a Crypt thing.
No, are you thinking of The Gate with a very young Brad Dourif? Who plays a kid who like summons monsters into his home while
everyone's
favorite
favorite Canadian horror film, The Gate, right?
The Gate is a legit good movie.
All I really remember is that at one point the kid opens his front door thinking that his parents have come home, and then their faces like explode, and it's like green slime that pours out of their heads and covers them in slime.
Is that The Gate?
Upsetting.
Is there like a giant CG or not CGI, like stop motion monster at the end of the movie you're thinking of, Matt? Because that's The Gate.
Is Vanessa now leveling up about the stuff?
I'd like to issue a correction. It's actually called Lord of Illusion, not Master of Illusion.
Lord of Illusion is a fun movie. Isn't that one actually directed by, or is that, who's directed that one?
John Carpenter?
Clive
Is it Carpenter?
Barker.
Barker did that one himself, right?
No, he did Prince of Darkness.
What are we even talking about?
I like that Lords of Illusion movie.
Directed by Clive Barker, starring Square Root's favorite actor, Scott Bakula.
Hey, Jim, remember when
Kevin J. O'Connor, Daniel Von
in
Bargen,
Maximum Overdrive that coach gets killed by the vending machine? I think I brought that up almost as much as you brought up Kermit on a bicycle.
Also, it's worth noting, like, you cannot mention Maximum Overdrive without mentioning the kid that got run over by the steamroller, which was also so famously gory that George Romero threw up when he saw it.
No, we never. I don't think anyone's ever actually seen in public the cut of that where they took it was too gory. Like,
yeah, it cuts away in the regular version, but there's a version that I was screened for George Romero where he famously vomited.
I am done leveling up.
Also, an ATM calls a guy an asshole in that movie.
A guy being Stephen King.
Yeah. All right. Are we going to talk about Legend of Mana now?
Yes.
Is Legend of Mana the game where all the semi-trucks come to life and they hole up at a gas station?
Well, Matt still has to level up.
Do I get to level up today, or are you guys going to skip me again?
Oh, yeah. You get to go now.
I said Matt has to level up.
Rude.
I just said.
I know you did. John did, because John's a good person. I feel like might be Demon Knight. Might be the movie I'm thinking of, but maybe not.
Demon Knight with
Billy Zane.
What's her name? Well, Billy Zane, but also Jada Pinkett Smith.
Wasn't Demon Knight in that like Bordello of Blood series of movies?
Yes, okay. Bordello of Blood is bad. Demon Knight is good.
Anyway, all I remember
also
is some kid's face, some of his parents' faces explode and like get all over him, and it's gross. And I can't remember what movie it is.
That movie scared the shit out of me as a kid, and I went back and watched it a couple years ago. And
maybe listeners could help me figure this out, since clearly Jim can't. All right, how did I level up? Let me tell you how I leveled up. I leveled up by getting my big first win on Tego. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. PUBG is back with a brand new map. It's like a classic giant-sized map. and it feels like classic giant-sized PUBG. And it's very fun, and I love it a lot, and I've been playing it a lot, and finally have started getting some wins on this dumb map. Though many of them lately have been wins where I'm dead. But that's okay.
You said there was a car in that. You didn't say that it was an officially licensed Hyundai Pony Coupe.
Okay. Sorry.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's
Yeah,
a
it is
real
crazy.
Hyundai.
It's a lot of fun to drive, too. It's fast, and it handles a lot like that Vikendi wagon that handles so well. It's really good. It's light, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's not as light as the coupe on Erangel, or the coupe on Erangel and Sandhawk, but it is light. It's fun. I've been having a blast. I can't wait. I hope that Vanessa will play it with us when she gets back, and John and Jim probably. Jim's too cool for PUBG these days. I mean, we'll be on. Yeah. Anyway, Tego. It's a lot of fun. So, time for me, Tego, to the quest log.
Oh, hey. There it is.
I'm excited. The one thing I'll say is I like Tego a lot. I was hoping for a lot of verticality because in the newer maps they've done, like Karakin and Haven, there's been a lot of really great verticality in the buildings and in the environments that I think are a lot of fun to play around in. And unfortunately, Tego doesn't have a lot of verticality to it. But I wonder, because they do have another map they're promising that's going to come out this year. And I wonder if that's their, like, I think Tego is kind of like, remember, classic PUBG map. Like, check it out. It's just buildings to loot and lots of space to drive around. And it looks nice, and it's... Anyway, so we'll see how that works out. But, Tego. Vanessa's going to have to be the host for this season because she chose this game, and it's a really weird game. The game itself is not going to introduce itself or explain itself in any way, shape, or form, and I feel like we should.
Right.
Yeah, I
don't know
think that's a
how.
good idea.
I mean, that's going to
Well-
be Vanessa's job.
First things first, we need to decide what we're going to call the quest log this time.
It's the quest log.
The Cactus Diaries.
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yes, the Cactus
It's
Diaries.
the Cactus Diaries.
Perfect.
So let's open up the Cactus Diaries.
Yep. First, has anyone... so why don't you ask us about our experience with this game?
Oh, that's a great idea. Before we start talking about the Cactus Diaries, when we play a new game, like to talk about our history with that game. Johnny, why don't you tell us your history with Legend of
I have
Mana?
my hand up.
He did.
Matt,
True.
why don't you tell us your history with Legend of Mana?
I have no history with Legend of Mana. I don't think I really even knew this game existed. I don't know what it was on. Did it come out in America?
Yeah.
I was, for a
Oh, yeah.
long time, I thought after Secret of Mana there was nothing ever. And then when I was like, in my 20s, I learned that there was that mysterious Seiken Densetsu 3 that I still have never played. And, that's why I have the Collection of Mana, because we were gonna play that at one point. And then I think maybe we did a vote instead. Anyway, I knew there was a Seiken Densetsu 3, but I didn't realize this series continued. So, what the fuck is this?
There's a 4 and 5.
What?
Yeah.
Do they get increasingly
This is-
bad like the Mega Man games?
5 is an RTS, I think, and people do not like that game. It is for the
yeah.
Nintendo DS.
This game, thankfully, is impenetrable, but it has fun going for it. So, Vanessa, please tell us more.
I cannot until Johnny tells us his history with this game.
Well, it was June 2000.
Oh.
Eminem, hot on the charts. People
Let's
were
set the scene.
really going smooth with Santana and who is it? Rob
Rob Thomas.
and Ricky Martin.
It's a hot one.
Top of the charts.
Shebang, shebang.
Little. So how old would I be in 2000 according to Square Root's
I go
canon?
crazy
6 years old.
Cause she looks like a flower. and
21.
She stings like
No.
a bee. Like every
According to
woman
Square Root's canon, if we're all
history.
20 somethings, I would have to be like 6 in.
Yeah, you were 6 years old, and you took your little pocket money to the Blockbuster.
Yeah, exactly. I went to the Blockbuster. I did rent this game because I was like, oh, I love Secret of Mana. And I was okay with Secret of Evermore. Let's talk about Legend. Let's rent Legend of Mana. And then I rented it. I brought it home. And I was like, what what? What's happening? What? What? And then I took it back to the Blockbuster and never thought about it again.
You were like, hey, mister, you swindled me out of my pocket change.
Yeah, mister, I don't understand how this game works.
I'm just a baby. How you play?
Jim, what's your experience with this game?
I've tried to play this game multiple times. When it first came out, I remember trying to play it and getting frustrated with it and putting it down. And then when I got my Vita, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago at this point, I remember that was one of the first games I downloaded because it was like $1.99 in the PlayStation Store. And I was like, yeah, I can finally get into this game. And I made it like an hour into it. And I was like, I don't understand what's going on. But I'm glad we're finally getting to play it. And now that we've like landed on a proper guide and we're doing it, I'm actually really enjoying it, even though I don't really know what the overarching goal of the game is.
Did you?
If it even has one, I don't know.
Did you know that last month they announced an anime adaptation that will be called Legend of Mana: The Teardrop Crystal?
Ooh.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that gonna be on a streaming platform or?
I don't know.
All right. Vanessa, did you say what your experience is?
I did not. I like this game very much. I have played it a few times. That's my experience with it.
Like all the way through, you've done all these little quests before, events? Wow.
I sure have. This game does have a robust New Game Plus system, so that helps with multiple playthroughs.
Oh, interesting.
Where basically, yeah, your level and all of your little goodies that you've collected carry over. And in fact, I think that the game is sort of intended to be played multiple times because, well, let's just get into it. Let's talk about its structure a little bit.
Well, before we do,
Okay.
You know how we've been getting special guests on the show? And
Yeah.
we've been getting better about that. We've had George Lucas. We've had Billy. What was his name? Billy
Ray.
Billy Ray.
Well,
Jim. Oh, Jim. You weren't here last episode, but they were mocking the film Volcano. Written by friend of the show, Billy Ray. And I had to try to defend it all by
I forgot
myself.
that it was written by Billy Ray. That's funny.
That movie is pretty bad.
That
Oh,
ending
no.
is- well, we say it in the episode that ending is good intentioned but problematic.
Wait, hold on. Who's in
Tommy
Volcano?
Lee Jones?
I get Volcano.
Dante's
Okay, and
Peak?
Dante's Peak is Pierce Brosnan,
Yeah.
right?
Volcano is the
Okay.
one where the volcano is in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Dante's Peak's the one where the grandma dies, but the dog's okay.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're
Thank
talking
God.
about this again. Just
Yeah.
move on before this
The
becomes
grandma
another
dies
piece
a
of the Square
hero
Roots
when
canon.
she jumps out of a boat to then push the boat through the lava so the children don't get burned.
So,
And then Kermit rides a bike.
and then the soda machine does kill the baseball coach and dents his head in. And you see the dent, man. You see the dent.
And then George Romero threw up.
Anyway, so before we get started, just to explain the strange choices this game made, I've actually invited the director of Legend of Mana onto the podcast. I'd like to welcome, just here for a couple of seconds, Bjork.
Oh, hello, Bjork.
Hello.
Bjork.
I just wanted to say I'm so glad you like my game and its beautiful music. And when I was making this game, I said the one thing it had to have was a cactus who writes down what you did on a leaf. You whisper
thanks,
your
Bjork.
secrets to the cactus. And every part of the world is just something you imagine, like you see a wheel and it's a road.
Oh, I get it, because wheels go on roads.
Exactly. It's
And you're just a
all
child making up a
beautiful.
story?
But doesn't like a bottled fairy turn into like a mine or something?
I was inspired by car parts, cutlery, and whatever I found
Okay.
lying
Well,
around.
Bjork, I think you said you were going to be here for a few seconds, so...
I'm off to disappear into the wind.
Wow, she just dissolved into the
was
wind
impressive.
and floated away.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bjork.
Why is
Yeah.
it brown? Why is it a brown wind?
Oh no, it's that Lord of the Rings character.
Brayon wind.
Breon wind.
Brayon wind.
So this game,
What does that have to do with Legend of Mana, Vanessa?
it's not a like a traditional game.
Ooh, I know how to phrase this. This game shipped without any sort of like interface that explains to you what you're doing or what's happening. It just kind of starts, and in a way that feels like you're working on somebody's animated spreadsheet for them.
It's like what if the concept behind Number Wang was also a game?
That's Number Wang.
Just to put it out there, since we're dancing around it, the game starts and just kind of throws you into this menu, let's call it, this graphical interface of a map, and you have an artifact that you can drop on the map, and that will make you. It's a mailbox. And when you
But like if you go back a step though, you not only have to choose where to put the mailbox, but before that you have to choose a part of this big world map to start building from, and it does not explain
it tells you that it has to be
Well,
it has to be touching water, I think is the only rule.
Yeah, let's walk through it because we open with this beautiful anime cutscene. We're playing the remastered version, and we have sort of a tornado whirlwind kind of thing, and the characters are floating around. There's a male character and a female character. You can choose which one you want to play as, and swirling around them are a bunch of things like the mailbox.
Quick question for you. Are we going to circle back and play through as the other character?
There will be nothing stopping you from doing that.
But you are for the purposes of our show, we're just playing through one character?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a bummer. I thought I was going to get to do both, so I just picked the boy to get him out of the way, but now I wish I would have picked the girl.
Oh, I think they're sort of the same character, actually. They're
Yeah.
just different gendered versions.
Would you guys name your characters?
Well, I don't mind that. Like, I always look at, like, I've seen my daughter, like, she's very interested in, I've gotten her very interested in, like, Zelda games and stuff. She doesn't like playing games as Link. And she doesn't like playing games as Mario.
Yeah.
She plays them, but she doesn't go out of
You
her way
gotta
to play
get her
those
playing
games.
Genshin Impact. I think you're only girls there.
I'm the same way. I did not like playing as male protagonists as a kid, and I still don't really. I'll do it sometimes, but usually I imagine they is girl.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to do that? Like, now at this point, like, I'm almost 40 now. I'm 21 now. I like to play as like a woman protagonist, but like, I used to always just pick the fucking whatever you are. That's instinct, and every game should give you this option.
I think as like teenagers, especially when you're trying to form and discover your own identity, you kind of gravitate towards protagonists that you can see as a self-insert or try to learn more things about yourself or imagine yourself in these situations. And it's easier when you relate to the character. And that's the reason customizable characters are important. However, that said, I do think everyone should try out something else from time to time because it helps expand your compassion to imagine yourself as a different kind of person.
It can make a game more fun to play. It does make it easier to play a game. I think it does make it easier to play a game as a character when you pick something that's not like yourself and make choices that character would make rather than just kind of playing yourself and making the choices that you would make. Yeah, for sure. I think changing the gender can help that. I wish more games. Honestly, I wish a lot of these old games, the old Zelda games, I wish that you could flip it. Like, just let me pick, is Link a boy or a girl at the beginning of the game? You know?
Yeah,
That would
it
be
does
great.
make a difference to the plot.
I've seen like mods to the ROMs that let you do that for some games, but I don't know how to make that.
Yeah, I've seen those too.
I don't know how to make that work for my kids. So honestly, if they did this remaster, why did they not go through and just add some fucking explanations as to what was happening at the top?
I will
crazy.
say this seems like a very lazy remake.
Not at all. I would say not. Like M2. Okay. First of all, this is my favorite retro game re-releasing company. M2 is they're a Japanese company. They did the Contra collection, they did the collection of Mana, they did a lot of the virtual console work and Sega Ages. Like they do super accurate recreations, which is why I was going to ask you, Jim. There's a lot of slowdown in this game for me playing on Switch. Have you noticed during combat, does it seem to get sluggish when there's a lot of stuff going on?
Yeah, but it's hard to tell the difference between that and like the frustrating experience of trying to move your character diagonally.
Yeah. Okay, so
during combat, so it's hard to tell whether that's slowdown or just like kind of shitty controls.
Because these guys don't do lazy.
movement.
They don't do lazy ports, and they like completely reorchestrated the music with like actual orchestras or something. Like the music's been redone. They've actually taken the original concept art and reused them as back. Like this was the art used for the PS1 version, but they used it as like the backgrounds instead of the pixel art version. So you get this like.
I mean, I do like the way the
stencil
game
art.
looks. Yeah. Like I love the way the game looks, but from like a presentation perspective, to Matt's point, it's hard to make sense of.
Yeah,
what's
The
going on.
game
sure,
like
game
really
is bonkers.
really hard. It fails really hard at just the basic setup of a game of here is a person that you're playing as, and here's the task that you need to do. And it also doesn't explain.
And I'm going to tell you why. I have the explanation right here at the tip of my tongue.
Well, we're discussing more in
They
regards
hired
to how we feel, how it makes you feel about the game.
Icelandic singer to
Not
design
what
a
their-
game. It's
Not what their excuse for it is. But please go ahead and tell us what excuse they made for this broken.
This game
Remake
is
game.
your classic protagonist with amnesia, except this time the player has amnesia too. So we don't know what's going on. To get into it, as referenced, we get to choose the gender of our protagonist, and we choose their starting weapon from a long list of weapons. What did y'all choose?
All those mana weapons, though. You get the axe, the bow, the spear, sword, two-handed sword, whip, boomerang, your mom's house.
I took the spear first because I love a spear.
Love a spear.
Yeah.
I also took the spear.
I took the sword because I'm a basic bitch, and I just always pick the fucking sword. Like, I don't even like myself. I wish that I could pick something else, but my fingers always make me pick that fucking sword.
Did you at least go for a two-hander?
No, I love a two-handed sword, too.
Oh, jeez.
I did, however, name my character Dude, which has been pretty fun.
Oh, yeah, Jim asked that before. Jim, I named my character Bort.
I love your board.
Mm-hmm.
I named my character Fart.
Oh! Vanessa.
I just used one of the default names, and I don't actually remember what it was. It was
Wow.
like Orleana or something like that.
And I did name my rabbite Vanessa.
Aww, Rabbi.
She's following me around, healing me. It's great.
I'm a little bit.
And
She
there's like
doesn't heal you. She just speeds up your recovery time. I have the Lizardon, who I named. What did I name the Lizardon? Reptar. And Reptar just constantly poops out chocolate bars. So you can just stand.
That's so good.
You just stand behind Reptar and eat its chocolate poop.
I have so many questions for you about this stuff, Matt, but we'll get there when we get to that. Because I haven't found any more eggs, and I went, like you said, go to old boss zones.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
You have to open the Monstar Corral up first, but they should be there.
So
Anyways.
once we generate our character, I'm playing with a sword. By the way, thank you for asking, Matt.
I wish that I
So-
had
He
played with a
asked
sword.
everyone. He just put the question out there, didn't he?
Yeah. I didn't even put the question out there. I just answered it.
I did.
Oh.
Always trying to cancel me.
Well, Jim did preface it by saying, for everyone but Vanessa, what
Yeah, he did.
weapon?
Yeah, he
That
did.
is what
He's
I
like, I
said.
would like
Yeah.
the
He did.
opinion of the men on the podcast in regards to this, but not the
I
women
qualify all my
specifically.
questions with everyone but Vanessa.
I mean, my job here is to like laugh at your jokes.
Well,
so,
you're supposed to pick up the Square Root's house and you do the dishes, and we used to try to get you to cook, but you're not good at it, so we do the cooking.
Yeah, it's a good bonus. Unfortunately, all you guys do is grill. Like, you seem to be unable to do anything except grill up some meat. And
That's
then you
true.
spend like 2 hours talking about your grilling techniques and what kind of cuts you're going to grill.
I appreciate that you have finally gotten tired of telling me how tired you are of smoked meats, because all I do is I'm always smoking a meat out back of the Square Roots house all day, every day. There's a meat smoking. It's a brisket, it's a chicken's.
I can only wink so many times.
Hey, John, I had to edit a 2.5-hour episode, so if you think I'm going to have any sympathy in regards to moving this show along, edit it at 1.5 speed. It's more fun anyway. We sound like chipmunks. We should upload that episode somewhere.
Well, you know what? A pro tip: if you're ever listening to a podcast and you want them to sound fun, I recommend going at half speed on your podcast player, because they do really sound drunk at half speed, and it's incredible. Like, do it right now, and it'll sound like we all just like are kind of down and very loaded.
Like, what would be the difference, though, for half of us? Pew, pew, pew.
So you have a map, and there's a mailbox.
Yeah.
And the
This
game's
game
like,
opens
put this
essentially
fucking
like
map
The
on this
Sims.
put this fucking mailbox on this map, idiot.
Put it on the map, dummy.
Yeah.
The map is very big, and you can put it anywhere you want. Although the
It's got a
entire
grid,
internet
and you have to
seems
fit
agree.
it in.
There's water, there's land. The internet all seems to agree that the best place is top right corner, 2 spaces to the left, and 3 spaces down is where you should put your mini map, which then becomes your game map. So you take the world map, you choose a section of it to be your game map, and then once you choose that, you choose where on that game map the mailbox goes, and the mailbox should go in the bottommost row, 3rd space from the left.
How much space is like the map that we create going to take of the world map?
I'd say it's like a 10th. I don't know.
Do we go out
wow.
amongst the world map, or does the whole game happen in that first region we choose?
The whole game happens in the first region you choose.
I've got a question. So we're going by the walkthrough on legendofmana.info. And
Correct.
It does say to put it in the bottom row. And I was like, there's 2 rows here that could be considered bottom because it's diagonal, and there isn't
Right.
really a top and bottom. So I guess that it was like the bottom left one.
Yeah. I will say the orientation of the map, because like I think this game was meant to be played with the D-pad. The orientation of the map to be like diagonal is it's frustrating because I never pick the right thing to go to, because it's hard to like scroll right or left or up or down.
Well, why don't you use the D-pad on your PS4 controller?
I do, but it's still hard to. Just doesn't work as intended, I don't think.
Once we put the mailbox down, we awaken in our home. And I guess that this is as good a time as any to talk about the look of this game. Jim,
Hey,
tell us what this game looked like.
I don't really know how to describe it. It's very pretty.
I would say that it looks like hand-drawn animation.
Yes, yeah. The backgrounds and the environments look
Yeah,
great.
the backgrounds all look very like hand painted. They're very beautiful, especially in this version where they're HD. But you still have like the sprites still look pretty Secret of Mana-y. I think that
Yeah, they really do.
They're kind of chunky.
yeah, and they still got that big chunky pixels in this version.
Like, the Rabbites in this game look exactly like the Rabbites from Secret of Mana.
The background is 2D, and it looks like sort of like a watercolor Studio Ghibli meets Disney kind of aesthetic.
I would say that
Like,
you
it's
could.
very cartoony.
I would say that you could definitely say the same thing that Jim said about like the slimes in Dragon Quest, though, right? Like that, they look the same throughout 10 Dragon Quest games.
Well, that's the same design. These not only have the same design, like John's point, the sprites look exactly the same.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's true for a lot of these games for a lot of the time. I mean, if you're talking about the newest game versus like one of the old games, sure. But for Dragon Quest 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, it was probably that exact same sprite every single time, right?
Well, they redid the sprites for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So they probably are. This Square is using the same sprites. Like, it's not that they did them the same. It's the same, right?
I think that if you play Trials of Mana, I played that in the Collection of Mana. It looks more like that than Secret of Mana. Like they're a little bit taller and they're a little bit stretchier. But yeah, it's super similar.
I've heard that remake is really good. The Trials of Mana remake. I've heard that's very good.
I'm just playing the emulated version that comes in the Collection of Mana.
Oh.
Yeah, I have that as well. I would love to play the full remake, but I don't think you can play them both. Is it John? Is it the same?
Yeah, you could totally play that for the podcast whenever we do Trials of Mana. Yeah. But there's no online play because I want to play that with Vanessa 2-player, but we'll have to rent a house or something and do it that way.
Well, I mean, we have the Square Roots house, but I won't leave my wing, so that's the problem.
Yeah, she says none of us are allowed in the West Wing, is the big...
Yeah, and I don't like to come out of there because it smells like smoked meats in the rest of the house. So you're in your house. It's this super cute thatch roof cottage, 2-story house. I like the look of it a lot.
Yeah.
It's very kind of cluttered. It looks lived in.
Yes, the whole world is super lush. All the backgrounds are bursting with details, and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And you walk out your front door, and who should be out on your front walk but a sproutling?
Vanessa, what a sproutling?
Well, I was going to ask Jim what a sproutling.
It's like a little plant monster.
Yeah, it's like a guy made of leaves.
Yeah.
And it has a little face and little handsies.
Later in the game, they get tummy aches.
Yep. They have tummy aches.
They look a bit like the monsters that Nappa summons to fight Goku's friends in one of the early Dragon Ball Z sagas. But they also are very clear about the fact that they don't have souls.
Yes, they talk about that all the time.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. It's weird.
They're like, "Hi, I'm a sproutling. I don't have a soul, so."
Are they supposed to be is there supposed to be stand-ins for robots? I don't understand what the game's going for here.
Robots?
Yeah.
No, it's just a little.
Why would they
be
robots?
Like servants.
They're not servants. What are you talking
they're chasing you around, and they're like, Master Luke, don't go into that cave.
They seem more like semi-sentient animals than they do like robots.
Yeah, but they're robotic.
How are they robots?
I just said how.
It looks like nothing like a robot.
I didn't say it looks like a robot.
They don't act like robots either.
Like a robot.
They feel pain and fear, and they have wants.
They feel pain and fear. I think what you mean is they get tummy aches.
Yeah, and they get scared of having their leaves moved.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like the
and
Nobodies?
They think about the wind. At one point, you come across one, and he's like, "I think about the wind a lot." It's like, cool.
Cool.
This sproutling gives you an artifact called the color blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we exit to the world map, and we are able to put the color blocks anywhere on a adjacent square to our house.
It would be nice. The game, like the way it's a benefit to the listeners, particularly the ones that are not playing along, that they're going to listen to us kind of conveniently describe what happens when the reality is the game doesn't tell you what to do at all. So it's very much like you're in your home and you walk around and talk to some people and you can pick up items and stuff. And one of the items that you pick up, if you happen to talk to this sproutling, is the color blocks. And you can go out to the map and drop the color blocks somewhere. And there's a whole new area that opens called Domina. It's a city. It's pretty cool. But it's a little fucking weird because the game is not helping you along.
I will say that, like, us talking about our experiences with the game is pretty thematically relevant, considering that this game, like, everything that happens in the game, to my understanding, is just the interpretation of the player character. Like, this is their imagination bringing the world to life, I think, and hearing us talking about it is kind of similar to that, right? Like,
Yeah.
There's
I guess
some
it's kind of open to
indication of
interpretation.
that
Well,
you're
that's silly.
creating the world.
You definitely
as
could
you
just
go
do
along.
it in a game. You don't have to. You're not gonna do all this. But that's
Well,
fine.
I think it's similar to a lot of board games work like this, like that haunted house board game everyone loves, where like you're in a room and then you use your card to make the next room.
But we need a Vanessa
I can
there
see
to
that once you
explain how
understand
this
the
board
game
works.
I can see that, like, I get it. Once I not only read some of the guide that you sent, but also did some deep dives into several other guides and got a handle on this game. It's a bit like Chrono Cross in that once I understood it, I kind of got it, and I'm enjoying the game a lot. But much like Chrono Cross, you're kind of left sitting here going like, did you forget to like build half of this game? What happened?
When
I will say that, like, Vanessa first recommended one guide that told you where to place your land, but didn't tell you anything else about the game. And then she switched to another one, and their land placement recommendations are different.
Really?
So, like, so I started with the one, and then I finished up the chunker on the other, and I've had to go against the second guy's recommendations on where to put stuff, and I hope I don't fuck myself out of, like, picking, like, other story branches.
I also started on the one guide and switched to the other one, but it's the same for me.
I think no, it's not. It's not. The
I'm
same.
still using both guides, an amalgamation of both. But I made a mistake.
The land placement recommendations are different between the guides. I have noticed that, so I've had to like just like put them on like opposite. Like side of like the left, right from the house. Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
I just hope I don't ruin anything.
Well, none of it's gonna like break the game. It just kind of it's just
right?
gonna change like I don't know, like how hard the enemies are, maybe, right? Like the type of loot that drops, maybe.
Yes, the further away a land is from your house, the more difficult the enemies are. That is true.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yep. See, that's what I was saying. I think the game might tell you that, but again, it's all buried and it sucks. And this is the type of thing that if the game just guided you through the first hour of the game, I think it would be great, and you could get it, and it would be easy enough to go from there. But it kind of fails to do that, unfortunately. But we don't want to get too hung up on that.
Y'all want an in-game tutorial, and this is a read the manual game.
Well, maybe that's true.
This is a read the fat game.
But the game does get to be pretty fun. So let's get into it, because we're going to get to Domina, and we're going to get to see what world maps look like, and we're going to get to see what towns look like. So let's go to Domina. We set the color blocks down on the map, and it turns into the town of Domina.
Domina is our first town, and it's super cute.
Yeah. It's big. It's weird. There's like a overmap with points, and you kind of walk around on top of it, almost like you're walking around on the pages of a book. And then the points on the map are little areas that you kind of explore in, like, I don't know how to phrase this, guys. Help me.
Well, like every time you walk to a new section that you open up, a day passes. And I do
that's not what I mean. I mean, like once you're in Domina, the map of Domina.
Oh.
Explain the map of Domina.
Well, you choose... Yeah, so like when you go to Domina, it opens with like the area map, and each like screen of the area is a little point on the area map. And so you like enter, and then every time you leave an area, you have to move your character to the next point on the like over area map.
Domina is full of interesting and diverse characters. There's more sproutlings. There is a pelican that delivers the mail.
Or characters to dungeons.
Yeah, there is a woman who lives in a big bowl of fruit who will tell your fortune.
So my question is, there's all these characters, but it seems like everyone you talk to initiates another... what does the game call them? The little story...
Events.
Another event, and if you do events in a different order than the walkthrough, then you might not trigger some events. And so I've been not going in anywhere or talking to anyone because I'm so afraid of triggering an event. Am I being too cautious?
Yeah, you can go back to old battlefields and stuff and go fight monsters and collect treasures and stuff. But if you're in a town, I wouldn't fucking talk to anybody. Even home, I accidentally, I got done with, let's say, chunk 11 of this, and or maybe it was chunk 10, and I got back to the home base and did some like Monstar Corral stuff and kind of walked around a bit before I went to save and talk to my cactus. And I walked in and into a building I walked into the blacksmithy in the home.
Oh, and you
lot,
triggered that
and I triggered
event?
the next event. So at that point, you can't go record the last event, and I had to go back to an old save and
missed
redo half
talking
of
to my
that fucking
cactus.
event. It was.
I miss talking to my cactus after an event, and every time I open that fucking diary, there's a big gaping hole where that event
Just
should
so
be, and it
listeners-
bothers me so much.
Just so listeners are clear, the cactus is a thing in your home, in your house,
in your
in your bedroom that you can talk to. The game gives you no indication that you can or should do this. And it's in the same room as your bed, so where you save. You save the game at your bed. So after you do an event, you want to run back to your home, to your bed, and go save the game. And you want to go talk to the cactus.
Whisper secrets.
Yeah.
You want to go
Whisper
whisper
your
secrets to the cactus. And once you leave the room, the cactus will go and write the secrets down. You get a little animation. And if you don't, if you start a second event after you finish an event, or if you start a bunch of events at one time and finish them, like I would do in most games, we'll collect a bunch of quests and go. So anyway, you're fucked. I don't know. And we don't really know what that does. We don't think it's important to the game. I think it's just related to achievements and new game pluses. But Jim already fucked it up. And I lost
also
time
really
fixing it for some
fun.
reason.
I like when you whisper your secrets to the cactus. The cactus will respond in 1 or 2 words, usually, sort of summarizing the event.
The event, yeah.
And it's always delightful.
You can also read the cactus diary entries
Oh,
where it talks about what you did.
I'll have to go back and do that. So what's? I know it's a little bit out of order, but what is this all about? Why are you whispering your secrets to the cactus?
Why wouldn't you?
Why does the cactus write down your secrets on a leaf?
Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, is this relevant? Because, could you go through the game and do all the events and never talk to the cactus? Does it make any difference at all?
I don't know.
But you do get that cute little animation, and the guide seems to be like, careful, you might miss this entry. You do not want to do anything else until you've whispered this secret to the cactus and it's written
so
it down
dumb.
on a leaf.
I do like reading the cactus diaries, though, because they're like little 1-paragraph summations of the events written from the perspective of the cactus.
Yeah, I know this is an old
So,
game, but
they are very neat.
keeping track of your old stuff is such trash in this, Anyway, so Domina is a fun town, and there's an inn, and there's a shop, and we meet some people. Vanessa, tell us what happens in Domina.
In Domina, you can wander around, and we meet our very first new friend named Niccolo.
He a big rabbit.
Yeah, I'd describe him as sort of a rabbit as well. Mm-hmm. He's big and fat, and he wears kind of a parka.
I think the scientific term is chubsy wubsy.
He's chubsy wubsy. He has loafers, or not loafers, what do you call those? Like slip-on sort of clogs on his feet. He has some brown gloves and big flopsy ears.
He does have a sombrero on his back.
Yeah, he wears a sombrero on his back. And he is concerned that there are bandits on the highways. He's a
There is a... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
he's a merchant of some sort, it seems.
There was a very funny article that I sent you guys last week that was in Kotaku that talked about this character as the worst character in all of video gaming because he's such a racist.
I haven't
Yes.
gotten to his racism yet.
Yeah.
Well, Niccolo seems to hate sproutlings.
Oh.
Also, everybody hates the Jumi tribe.
Right.
But we'll get to that a little bit
Sproutlings
And he
later.
also-
do not have souls. They have said that. They are, I don't know what they are, but they're not. I feel like it's reasonable to hate them.
So, Niccolo does...
It's reasonable.
One of the
to
things I really like about this game is he doesn't just give you the quest. It's like you follow him to his friend Tipo house. Then he gets into an argument with an onion who you meet a lot. This onion comes...
Yeah, the onion's like everywhere.
He's sort of your like companion who helps you learn. He's like a Jiminy Cricket. He's telling you how the game works, and you can ask him a lot of questions and stuff. But I do love that the first thing he says to the onion is "quiet, onion." Because he's trying to trade some stuff to this teapot, and the teapot will not pay the 50,000 lucres that he's requiring for payment of this wheel. And he's like, well, fine, I'm going to give it to my buddy for free because fuck you.
Yeah. And the
He's a real
teapot's like,
asshole.
oh no. There's also a shop in the house that this teapot and onion live in, so you can buy some equipment if you
Can
want
I,
to.
or is it going to trigger an event and ruin the game?
You can.
Ruin
Okay.
the game.
Yeah, I'm so afraid, Vanessa, of everything. I'm going to break it.
This is the ultimate horror suspense game. Legend of Mana.
Yep.
So Niccolo gives you this wheel, and you can exit to the world map and place it somewhere adjacent to the squares you've unlocked, and that creates the Luon Highway. And this is where we get our first combat experience.
Yeah, it's like a Golden Axe kinda.
It's Secret of Mana.
It's
like
it's
the
more
same-
side scrolly than Secret of Mana. Secret of Mana was like a top down Zelda kind of game, and this one's more of a
Yeah.
side scrolling beat 'em up kind of game. Although the combat's similar, it doesn't have the charge mechanic, which is good because although I like the charge mechanic, I think combat's better without it.
Yeah, there's no charge, but there is like light attack and heavy attack kind of thing.
And you map. So you have these abilities you can map, and the guide that we're using doesn't even explain why you want these abilities, but it's like do this, so you can get flip kick. I'm like, okay, so I've been doing. I got flip kick. I don't know if it's good. I haven't really used flip kick yet. I got it right at the end of the chunker.
You gotta get your flip kick.
So yeah, combat is like a mix of STs, which stands for special techniques, magic, but I have not got magic yet, and your basic light and heavy attack, and you can do combos, and you start glowing. I'm always facing the wrong direction. Trying to aim at the enemies is kind of tricky, and when there's more than a couple of enemies on screen, it does turn real slow.
Yeah, there's a lot of slowdown, which is a bummer. The combat it's fun. It's not the same as Secret of Mana, but it's so similar that it might as well be. But this one does do battles a bit like Chrono Trigger, where you run across an enemy on the battlefield and then it kind of spreads out and becomes multiple enemies. But unlike Chrono Trigger, where then you have a menu to pick from, in this, it's a lot like a Double Dragon style fighting, like brawler game. It does have more depth than it looks like at first, though. At beginning, it looks pretty cut and dry and a little boring, unfortunately, but pretty quickly you start to get some interesting abilities. There are these skills that we should probably talk about that you can equip, plus abilities, plus special techniques, plus magic, that all really change up the way the fights flow. For example, at the start of the game, you can go into your menu and you've got 4 buttons on the face of your controller. And let's say the top button and the right-hand button are your light and heavy attacks. And then the bottom left and top left or left-hand button are skills that you can assign in the menu. So, for example, jump, defend, and then there are things like dodge and riposte, and a lot of options that you can do. And the more you use them in battle, the more they kind of level up. And if you take 2 skills like jump and dodge, for example, and you keep them on and use them for enough battles, what you'll find is when you have 2 skills on, if they're compatible, you can hit both buttons at the same time and do kind of a special move. So your jump, if you got jump and you've got, I don't remember what it is. Let's say dodge. I don't think it's dodge, but whatever it is. You've got jump and dodge equipped, and you hit them both at the same time, you can do a super jump. And if you keep them both equipped for enough battles, you'll kind of that'll become an option that you can equip itself. That's that combined move. You'll gain.
Yeah.
So you can
said
then
flip
equip
kick was good,
like
right?
high jump. So the guy that we're using right at the top tells you how to get flip kick, and I have discovered that it is pretty good. I don't remember exactly what it is. We don't need to walk through all the details. People can check the guide out themselves. We've told them where it is. Flip kick is great. It's a combination of essentially you get jump and then high jump, and you get dodge, and then you get back flip, and then you get like a high back flip, like a jump back flip. That's pretty great. And then you get flip kick, which is like a kick a kick combined with a backwards jump. So it's a perfect little move that you can tack onto the back of your combos that then gets you out of range for most attacks. And
cool.
It is probably the most useful skill of these skills. So definitely you do want to get that as soon as possible. I have that, and then I kept this backflip, high backflip that I found just super handy in this particular combat that really just throws you way out of range. So when I'm fighting bosses and stuff, I can backflip and get away from their big old area of effect attacks. So anyway, you have those, and then you also have special techniques, which are pretty, I think, obvious sword techniques, weapon techniques. And then you can also pick up instruments, which will give you spells. And those are used in an interesting way where you hold the button down and an animated version. Hey, Vanessa. An animated version of the... I know I've been monopolizing the mic. I'm sorry. A little animated GIF or whatever comes out of like that particular elements. You know, Undyne, the Little Mermaid woman comes out, for example. The gnome comes out, and then you have to hold the button down while they come out, and then if you let the button go, it'll throw a fireball or do a splash attack or whatever. So those are actually pretty handy too. I've been experimenting with the magic. You equip all of your special technique attacks and your magic to the trigger and trigger buttons and the shoulder buttons, so you can only have 4 equipped. Anyway, that's a breakdown on that. I know it's boring, guys, but John is licking his foot, which is fucking disgusting. Wow.
I'm showing off my shirt, which a friend got for me. It has a whole bunch of Raul Esparza rolls on it, which means I can never wear it in public, but I do wear it around the house.
Anyway, do you guys? So I'm sorry it took me so long to explain it all, but do you have any thoughts on this? Like, it's a pretty complicated system, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it keeps you engaged when you're playing it, I think. I think it's worth noting that you can't heal yourself in any significant way unless you are adjacent to your companion. So you like stand next to your companion and it creates this electro feedback loop. That's what that is. And it slowly heals you.
Fighting a boss, and I saw like this silver gate. I got killed by the flower boss, but then Bud was still alive. I know this is jumping ahead, but that's fine. And it did start like I got knocked out, but then a silver gauge was filling, and then I got revived. It was great.
Yeah, if you have a companion with you and you get knocked out, as long as your companion stays alive while your resurrection meter fills, you come back to life with full health.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I didn't get. Unfortunately, I got knocked out right before the end of that boss, and I didn't get any experience, and I felt very.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Wah.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but we haven't even got our first companions yet. So,
well, we have Niccolo.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Can he revive you?
He can revive you, and if you just stand next to him while you're alive, your health gauge will slowly replenish itself. But only during battles. But also fully replenishes after each battle. It's a pretty forgiving system. And if you both get wiped out, you can just hit continue and try the battle again. So yeah, easy peasy times all around. When we first get to the Luan Highway, the Onion is there, and he will give you some combat tips. And then we proceed along, doing our battles.
Duel, right?
Yeah.
Duel.
Yeah.
Duel the Onion. And all of our favorite foes from Secret of Mana are here. We talked about it before. The rabbis.
Rabbis.
The mushbooms.
There's chocobos.
There are
The
chocobos.
I don't remember those from Secret of Mana.
Me either.
I don't think there were any in Secret of Mana.
And I love a chocobo. I'm very happy to see them.
I wonder if there's Moogles in this game.
You can get a chocobo as a pet.
Possible.
It'll hang out and fight with you.
And you can't ride it, though, which is... Yeah, that's kind of the point of a chocobo, so that's neither here nor there. So as you're going along, we come across... what are these guys called? Choblin?
Yeah, Chobins.
Chobins.
Or Chobin.
Chobins.
Like Chobin Hood.
Yeah, Chopping Hoods.
Yeah.
Why
They're like
are they
little
called that?
teddy bears dressed as thieves.
They're raccoons.
Yeah, I feel like it's maybe a Japanese pun or something.
Are they
I don't know.
tanukis? I feel like they're tanukis.
It's not
Maybe.
a tanuki.
I'm doing it. I'm looking it up.
I know it's not a tanuki because it didn't try to lend me money. So the tanukis are like, hey,
Wait. Is the
What?
lady at the Walmart who wants to give me a credit card, is she a tanuki?
she might be.
Oh, okay.
So they are like, hey, give us your money. And you can choose to either throw some money at them or throw some candy at them. And if you throw the candy at them, they get mad. And it's time for a boss fight.
All right.
And the boss is... I don't remember.
It's Sizor there from the first boss from
Oh, that's right.
Secret of Mana.
Yeah. It's that big old ant that was underneath your hometown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that guy. And you fight him, and he goes down. He's super easy, but I mean, he's like, introduction to battle mechanics boss.
Yeah. I do like the bosses in this game. They're just big, and they take up a whole bunch of the screen. Like, I enjoy that.
Yeah, it's fun.
I
Big
enjoyed
chunky
the
boys.
name of this. The name of this event is Niccolo's Business Unusual, and I don't know why I love that so much, but I love that.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's sort of a pun. Afterwards, Niccolo is grateful, and he tells you so and gives you some money.
All right, we got 12 of
well,
these
at first
to get through.
at first he wants to sell you something. He's like, "Oh, you don't have any lucres, so I'll just give it to you. Don't worry about it." And he just gives it to you.
So that's our first event. We go home. We tell our Cactus. Cactus writes it down. All is well in the world. Our next event is the Little Sorcerers.
Pumpkins.
Yep, we go back to Domina, and someone, I don't remember who alerts us to this. It might be the Onion, but they're like, "Hey, there's some evil pumpkins."
Oh no, this was that insane pelican.
Yes,
She is insane.
the mail delivery pelican. Fun fact for our old comrade radio listeners, I like to harass friend of the show Malcolm with images of this pelican for reasons which I will not get into. He doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't think it's funny. But some other comrade radio alumni who are in the same thread do think it's funny. So I keep doing it. This pelican walks around town saying, "My jobby wob is to deliver the mail." And
He's cute.
it has another song, which is my favorite. "Here comes the cutest mail carrier. Watch out, boys. Bam."
Yeah, she is a delight, but she's also like insane. She's bonkers.
I don't think that she has actually been authorized to deliver the mail by any kind of government body.
And she doesn't understand that someone holding a stamp is not mail, but we'll get there.
Yeah. So the pelican informs us that pumpkins have taken over the town. So we go to a clearing, and there we find two evil sorcerers.
Oh no, one's got Vanessa's favorite weapon, a frying pan.
Yeah, and one's got Johnny's favorite weapon, a broom.
What?
Damn right.
These are little kids. These are our Cook and Mac of the
Oh.
game. It's Bud and Lisa.
Yeah, they become your apprentices, and you can take them out on missions with you.
They killed me though.
Events.
Oh, me too. Yeah, they totally
Why are
wrecked me
you
the
guys
first
so bad at
time.
this game? You can literally walk to the other side of the screen to heal and no, they won't chase you.
Oh yeah, I don't know, man.
I wasn't very good at dodging.
Gotta get
Hey,
that
don't
kick
game shame. Like, everyone has different skill levels with video games, and that's okay. I mean, except for if you can't finish Lost Odyssey because it's
Yeah, I was
too
gonna
hard
say,
because it makes your little buttons.
Speaking of, Jim, I went ahead and spoke for you during the Squarely Against on the last episode and said it was a bad game.
It's fine.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said.
So yeah, Bud and Lisa, they're human adjacent, but they have big sort of Ferengi ears,
Yeah,
I
they have
guess.
big,
I
like,
don't know
rat-
what
they
you'd
have,
really
like,
call them.
mouse-
Ferengi? Garth
I think they're
Ferengi?
supposed to be elves
Yeah.
or fairies or something. Mm-hmm. They have purple hair.
Yep, they have purple hair. They are a brother and sister duo of orphans, and they're trying to take over the town with their enchanted pumpkins. After you stop them, they are impressed with your strength and ask to become your apprentice. And if you say yes, they will move into your house and just kind of hang out on the first floor. And you can bring them as a companion on any mission you want to go on.
Are there other characters that are like this that will just hang out at your house and wait for you
Good
to
question.
take them out?
I don't recall.
I mean, the monsters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Monstars.
Speaking of, the next event, Monstar Corral.
This is the one that I missed in the Cactus Diary and Real Sore Spot.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jim. I'll find the Cactus Diary entry for it and I'll read it to you. So,
You don't have to do that.
okay.
Monster Corral is real short. It's not a real mission. You just kind of get introduced to this Monster Corral that's on the grounds of your home, where you can bring eggs, and the eggs will hatch, and little monsters will pop out, and you can raise them and level
Well,
them
Duel
up.
shows you how to hunt for eggs. Is like these eggs can be easily spooked. You gotta be real stealthy.
Oh, that's right. The eggs are fun. The eggs have little feet on them, like Sheldon from that terrible Garfield companion
US
show,
Acres.
U.S. Acres. And
which was called Orson's Place in Canada.
great.
Orson's
And
place?
they will run away from you, but you can get behind them to grab them. You can also drop fruit, which they will eat and then pass out, and that makes them very easy to grab. They stay in the same screen, so you can't really lose them, which is nice. Anyway, the eggs, you pick them up, you go around, and basically you can pick them up mostly from old boss locations. And the eggs, thankfully, the eggs, you take them back to your corral, and they will hatch eventually, and you can name them and feed them and let them graze and pick them out to take with you on missions, events. Yes, John.
Teacher,
This
teacher.
is yes.
I went to where the flower boss was, and I went to where the praying mantis boss was, and there wasn't any eggs. Where do I have to go to get more eggs?
I mean, they should be there. So you didn't do something, or I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Because when I did them, it wasn't even like a joke. Like, you walk back into the boss area and it stops you and it's like, there's an egg!
Yeah, I saw one on the highway as well, and sometimes they'll just be in kind of random areas.
I'll just
this
have
is
to
a-
explore more.
Yeah, this is probably a good time to talk about Vanessa's punishment corner.
Yeah. Jim.
Jim,
Jim, we're
pay
being
attention.
punished for
What?
our
It's time
actions.
for your punishment.
What's the punishment?
Yeah, as punishment for not finishing Lost Odyssey, Matt and Jim have been nominated to do a deep dive into all things homestead. So that's monster raising, fruit growing, crafting,
Okay.
when we get to that. So
Okay.
look forward to more exciting tales of Matthew's pets and Jim's equipment.
Yeah, I've already gotten into the. I accept that punishment, Vanessa, and I appreciate it. I am looking forward to getting more into the monsters. I have picked some out. I've looked into it. Each monster has a different synchro effect. So the Lizardon that I have right now, that I named Reptar poops out little chocolate bars. And so I can just run up behind him and eat his chocolate poops to refill my health real quick, which is great. It's much faster than just standing there and waiting for the health to refill. There's a few monsters that you can get that do have like really high attack stats and like some good, like one. There's a few. There's not a bunch, but there's a few. Like there's one that'll let you poison enemies. when you attack. There's some stuff like that. So there's some good monsters that I'm hoping to get as companions. Also, I like giving them cute names. I got a little wingless pterodactyl looking monster that I named Dactylsaurus, and it was fun. Dactylsaur, maybe? I don't remember.
Now come time for the Wisdom of Gaius.
Wow.
We go back to Domina. We find a sort of cat woman named Dana.
She's cool.
And
apparently
yeah,
you can also recruit these demi-humans to your party like monsters, basically. I did read.
What?
Yes, there's a whole.
Who's a demi-human?
Like this Catwoman. These companions that you pick up, you can recruit them permanently to not to your party, but to at least I don't know if they're in the barn or in the house or what the deal's going to be, but you can recruit them so that you can take them with you on events.
In the barn. Hey, get in the
I don't
barn.
know where they're going to go because the guides all talk about them basically like they're monsters, like they're just sentient monsters. So it might be in the barn.
I think they're sort of just around. Like, you go back to the inn, you can pick up Dana. This inn is run by what looks to be a fat chocobo, but she is called
it's not
a chicken
Yeah.
by the villagers, but she herself identifies as a canary.
Oh, that's right.
And she has a child who is in an egg. So, she has one of those egg things that she says is her child.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah. So Dana is concerned with souls. She wants to know if they're forever. She wants to know if they will last. And she asks you to take her to go see Gaius, who is one of the, what do we want to call them? Wisdoms? Is that what they say they are?
Creepy rock thing?
It's not creepy. It's adorable. I love it. Rock Thing is on the Luan Highway. If you sort of follow the path to the end, you come across it, and it's it's a monster of some sort built into the mountain. And you stand on its big giant hand, and it lifts you up and talks to you. And I think it looks great.
Yeah, and it talks to you about the meaning of life and the nature of relationships.
Yeah, it has a lot of things to say. Turns out Dana is particularly concerned with a friend of hers who is cursed and is going to turn to stone and seems to be resigned to this fate. And she doesn't want her friends to be resigned. And the rock is kind of like, well, if she's resigned, then she's resigned. And you should listen to her. And respect her wishes.
Yes, yeah. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it's not like what you would expect a video game to say. Like, oh, if you want to save your friend who's becoming petrified, you must go to the forest of Engor and get the 7 sacred gems.
Yeah.
But no, the rock's just kind of is what it is. The end.
Yeah. The end.
Our next quest takes place right at home. We head back, and we are told that monsters have... I don't think actually we're told. We just find them. We find that monsters have invaded our little orchard area. So you go down there, you smack them around, and once they're cleared out, this big tree with a face awakens.
Yeah!
I love this big tree.
Ugh.
Johnny is famously creeped out by any kind of anthropomorphic beasties or creatures or filters on Messenger. You are.
Oh, that's true. Well, it depends on...
Famously?
Because I like Digo from Space Game. Digo the Dogman.
Space Game?
Yeah, from Space Game.
He was a furry.
Yeah. I'm fine with furries, but these, they remind me of some of those Jim Henson things that creep me out, like the trash pile from Fraggle Rock.
Mm-hmm. They do look a lot like that. Or the Never Ending Story had that rock beast. I thought that was very similar.
Oh, that ate rocks?
Yeah.
I did like when you get to the orchard and it's full of monsters, it's time for some weeding.
Yep.
Yep.
This tree is hungry for your seed, and
Not your seed.
I did take a screenshot of it saying I can feel it being pumped full of mana or something.
Yeah.
yeah. So it requests that you feed him some seeds. You have seeds of different shapes that you can choose from. And if you feed it 2 seeds and come back in a few days, you will have different kinds of fruit to pick.
Who's the hungrier seed gobbler, Peapot or this guy?
Seed gobbler.
Peapot did love seeds. This guy, I'd say he's like not quite as hungry because he also gives seed in return. So once the fruit has grown, you can talk to him and he will give you some seeds that he has found.
Guzzle, guzzle.
The fruit is interesting. They're sort of like all puns. Like, you have some apple socks. Those are like apples in the shape of a sock. Apricot. It is like an apricot, but it has the face of a cat. You get a cabadillo, which looks like a cabbage and an armadillo combined.
My favorite ones that I've got so far is the fishy fruit. It's just super adorable. And so is the cabadillo. I did get, I haven't got a boar melon yet, but if you look at the illustration of the boar melon, I'm on the Mana Wiki. The boar melon is so cute. It's like a big round melon, but it's got a little boar face with little tusks and these cute little eyes and ears and snoot.
Cute.
Oh boy, I love it.
So the fruit that will grow in your orchard is affected by the seeds that you choose to give the tree, but it's also affected by the mana levels of your homestead. We haven't mentioned this, but when you're on the world map, you can see the different levels of mana in the different classic mana categories like Undine and Salamando and whatnot. Gnome. You see them on the map, and those levels will affect what grows at your home. That's part of why land placement in these guides is so specific, because where you put the adjacent lands impacts the mana levels at your homestead.
Are the days named after the summons?
Yeah.
That's confusing.
Yeah, the like
confuses me.
elemental things, yeah.
Yep, the days of the week are named after our elemental friends. And when our sorcerer friends use magic, they are summoning little avatars of the elementals, like we did in Secret of Mana.
Do we? But we must. There's a menu for magic, so I know that we got to get magic at some point.
We do get magic at some point, and in fact, we get items that allow us to use magic.
So what
that's
does
fun.
fruit do?
The fruit can be used to catch monster eggs, or it can be used later in crafting.
Oh. I will say that it's a little frustrating in the early game getting loot from enemies and chests, and it's like rust and dirt.
Yeah, it's true. The loot isn't like super important in this game. Like occasionally when you open up a new town, you can buy some new equipment, but mostly we'll be crafting our own things at home.
So,
and sometimes enemies will drop new swords or pieces of armor.
Right, I already got a couple of bows from the Chobin hoods.
Yeah.
So the next
Get the
event,
elder bows.
I think, is my favorite event of this first chunker, for sure. And you know what? I'm not even going to say vaguely. I think it's the best.
Which one
event
is
of
it?
The chunker. Diddle's Letter.
Yes, let's talk about Diddle and Capella.
Yeah. Let's talk about
I'm looking at this
diddling.
picture of Diddle.
Diddle.
And well, we should put, Vanessa, can you put in a Capella in there as well?
Sure, no problem. So Diddle and Capella hang out by a fountain in Domina, and they seem to be some kind of performing duo. Capella, who is the more vocal, is a monkey.
Mm-hmm. Can you find a picture, Capella?
Yes, I'm going
A
to share
juggling
the
monkey.
Okay. It's just loading,
So there's
I
the
guess.
monkey. Monkey has a sort of turban-like hat, jester collar, some clown pants with suspenders.
Cloud
and-
pets all the time. Get some.
What?
Don't worry about it.
And he's sort of cocky and a little bit arrogant. His companion Diddle. John.
Okay, so Diddle looks to be a terrifying Genet-esque amalgamation of a gramophone or Victrola and a person and maybe tadpoles.
Sort of fish, tadpole. That's what it is.
I thought it was a fish.
Yeah.
Tadpole
Yeah.
doesn't have legs yet. That's what it is. That makes sense.
But it does have little spindly, terrifying arms. And is that why it's on? So it's using, I guess it's using the gramophone's wheels as a sort of wheelchair since it doesn't have legs.
Well, the gramophone. I mean, that's a record player. There's a record on it. We can see.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can play records on a gramophone or a Victrola.
It does have a big old trumpet, like
Matt
a
actually
gramophone.
just dropped his microphone and left. He is
Wow.
gone.
Yeah, he's mad. Matt is, a fiend for outdated ways of playing music, and he'll talk to you about his 45s, his laser discs, his 8 tracks,
He has
his
some
gramophones,
wax cylinders.
his wax cylinders,
yeah.
his music boxes, his troupe of musicians that he employs to remain in his home
I've heard
ad nauseum.
Queen Victoria's voice on a wax cylinder before at this old museum near my house when I was
The
growing up.
legend, the wiki of Mana says that Diddle is a 14-year-old anthropomorphic record player.
Then why does he have a tadpole tail?
What do you want from me? I'm reading you what it says.
Okay. Diddle is a terrifying body horror monstrosity.
Yeah, and Diddle plays the music, and Capella walks around and juggles, and that is their act.
But the second you talk to Diddle, he just leaves.
Yeah, Diddle
Well,
is
he
not
hates
very chatty.
Yeah.
He just, scoots away. It's like, bye.
And this is a quest about communication.
It
In
is,
various
and
ways.
friendship.
Yeah.
So we go and we listen to a conversation about how basically Capella tasks us with figuring out where Diddle went. We go to the center of the town, and the Sproutling tells us that Diddle went to the inn. We go to the inn, and Miss Yuka, who is the fat canary, tells us that Diddle had a letter to mail. And this takes us to where the male pelican usually hangs out. And the male pelican is discussing that she had some mail to deliver. So we sort of go around, we walk back and find the pelican and Capella talking to each other. And the pelican says that essentially she saw Diddle holding a stamp and interpreted that to be mail because it had a stamp. And so she picked it up and delivered it.
And Capella's like, yeah, it must be like this. So Capella sort of holds up a stamp and puts on his hat to demonstrate. And then the pelican does try to abduct the Capella. She just runs into the room screaming, undelivered mail, undelivered mail. And then she with a streak of light tries to get a Capella away, and they are fighting each other for about 2 minutes. It is wonderful.
Eventually, the pelican admits, and this is a verbatim quote, that letter was a mistake. Whoopsity take.
That makes sense. Makes sense to me.
So once the pelican comes to terms with the fact that she has whoopsity taken Diddle, she tells you that Diddle was delivered to the Luan Highway.
Luan Highway in the sunshine, where the days are brighter, the nights are... I don't know. Sorry. No,
It was a beautiful song.
Yeah.
So we travel along the Luan Highway, and eventually we find Diddle's letter that he was attempting to deliver. And we tell Capella not to read it, but Capella cannot be dissuaded. And opens up the letter, and it essentially says Capella is super mean.
Oh, I told him to
He
read it.
sucks.
Why would you
Oh,
not?
did you?
Yeah, I was like, no, read it, buddy. Who's it going to hurt?
Oh, see, I guess that's true. We do get a choice, don't we? I told Capella not to read the letter. It was private. Matt, what did you tell Capella?
What did I tell Capella? I don't remember.
Jim, what did you tell Capella?
I think I told him it was private.
Well, regardless, he reads the letter. We come to the mouth of a cave, and Diddle is there, and Capella immediately starts tearing into Diddle and being like, F you, you want to leave me,
Yeah.
you suck, I can't believe you. And then Diddle's like, oh, did you read my letter? And Capella's like, no. And then Diddle asks you, did Capella read the letter? I said yes. Diddle gets pissed
I told
off
the
and
truth for
rolls
sure.
into the cave.
The guy told me to tell the truth, so I told the truth.
I did tell him the truth, yeah.
So we chase Diddle into the cave, and there we face the Gigasaurus Rex.
Yay! That is Denver the Last Dinosaur. He's your friend in 2-4.
He's very
Yeah.
He
small.
doesn't have...
He's much
He
smaller
doesn't have the
than I
tongue
expected.
attack. Doesn't have the tongue attack this time like he had.
No.
Remember last time he'd swallow you and then poop you out?
And it was fantastic. He'd walk around with you in his little body, and then you'd pass all the way through it. And we loved it because we love Vor here at Legend of Mana.
That's really where
Podcast.
our love of Vor started, was
It's
the second
true.
season. Yeah.
Yeah. But we do beat up this dinosaur. Capella and Diddle have a conversation about respect and friendship and decide to continue their partnership and go along their merry way.
Beautiful story. The next one's, I think, the longest and most, plot-related story.
I can't figure out if anything that's happened so far has been plot related.
This one's got, world building and gives you, a sense of grander things that are going on, right?
Yeah, this is our next town that we open up. We use a flame artifact.
It's flame. Oh, I like how all the artifacts are just AF, so I'm like, that's flame AF.
Yeah.
It's flame AF.
Flame as fuck. Dead,
and
creepy doll as fuck.
It creates a place called Gatto Grottos. Gatto Grottos is sort of a mesa, deserty kind of place. And the people there are primarily nuns, it seems. And they're kind of...
None.
Are they cats or are they humans?
It's hard to say. I thought they were similar to what the cat lady we took to talk to the Wisdom was.
That's what I thought too. They struck me as kitty cats, but I don't know.
Ruben kind of looked like a fire version of the boy from Secret of Mana.
Well, Ruben's a Jumi.
Ruben's a Jumi. That's
Rubens
something
is a
else.
Jumi. Yeah.
So-
Everybody hates the Jumis because they want those little jewels in their chest.
Oh, I'm uncomfortable with this.
What?
I said Jumi, John.
That's what they're called. We can't
Yeah.
not call them Jumies.
Choom?
Yeah.
You talking about your chooms?
Chooms?
So we arrive, and there is a sproutling who is under duress. It's lying in the road, and it's like, oh, I have a tummy ache. Wah. And sort of...
I love this guy.
And he is here to partake in the famous healing abilities of the nuns of this temple of healing. It is called the Temple of Healing. And so he kind of goes off that way, and you are sent after him to check on him. On the way there, we meet Rubens, who is, I guess, a guard of some sort. That was my interpretation.
Yeah, he's like a guard of the flame, the sacred flame thing.
He's got bright red hair. Otherwise, he looks mostly like a man. Except occasionally when he turns to the camera, there'll be a little bing, like a little shine effect, like a bing,
Right,
like a shiny diamond.
A twinkle.
Yeah, a little twinkle, a little ding. So we follow the sproutling. It's in the Temple of Healing. The nuns tell the sproutling to meditate because pain is just in your head. And the sproutling does not appreciate this advice. He feels like he's not getting good medical attention, which good for the sproutling for standing up for himself. The sproutling then goes across to a different area where there's a nun who identifies the problem as being a pom-pom bug, which can heal anything, according to this nun. And so the nun's like, oh, you feel bad because you have this bug attached to you, so I'm just gonna take off the leaf that it's attached to. The sproutling does not appreciate this plan because it is made of leaves, and it's like, you're so cruel, please don't take my leaf. And the nun's like, oh, I have to because Reuben can use it to heal his love. And the sproutling's like, no, and runs away.
This gets real weird.
Yeah. So Rubens kind of shows up where the nun is, and the nun is like, oh, we need to get this bug by taking the leaf off the sproutling to heal your love. And Reuben says, no, I don't want to do that because I don't want to hurt a living creature. And this angers the nun, and she's like, I can't believe you wouldn't do anything to save her. You suck. And she leaves. And we also have a letter that appears that says, I am going to steal the flame of hope. This inspires the arrival of the inspector.
Yay!
He's a great
John,
character.
Yeah.
I think
Will
it's
you
because I
describe
identify...
the inspector, please?
He's kind of ruffled and surly, and I kind of identify with the inspector. He's like a short little mouse guy. He's got...
You don't seem ruffled and
Yeah,
silly.
what are you talking about?
I guess I want to be. I like to imagine myself as ruffled and surly.
He looks very frumpy to me, which you
He's
are.
got-
So, you know
Thank
what?
you.
I get it.
He's got a lovely coat with these... not argyle. What would you call it? Flannel patches. He's got a Sherlock Holmes. What are those called? Deersucker hat?
Deerstalker.
And he's got
Deerstalker.
steampunk.
Did you say deer sucker?
Yeah, isn't that what oh, that's seersucker that I'm thinking of. He's got goggles and a pipe. And he's like a cross between the Great Mouse Detective and a Columbo, I would say.
And when he gets angry, he hops back and forth on one foot or the other, and steam comes out of his ears.
And he makes a sound that's like whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah. Pop, 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 pop. This inspector is after Sandra, the famous thief, and wants your help foiling Sandra from stealing the flame of hope. So you go to the temple, and there the nun has been knocked out. But nothing is missing. And so
And doesn't she say, "Hey, I'm fine, I just tripped or something"?
yeah, she's like, I tripped over the sproutling. So then we get access now to a different area of the Gato Grottos, which is a dungeon area. We are trying to track down the sproutling, and we follow a trail of leaves.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Eventually, we come to a cliff top. The Sproutling is there. Sandra is there. She has been disguised as a nun. She was the nun who was trying to take the whole time. She was this nun who wanted to take the leaf off. Rubens shows up and she's like, I'm going to take your gem. And so she essentially guts him, I guess.
Yeah, she murders in this like
she murders him.
Kitty children game. She murders Ruben.
Yeah, she kills him.
I
thought that, like, when I saw her kill him, I was like, oh, no, I did it wrong.
Nope.
Like, because in the guide that I was reading, did not mention, like, you're going to witness a murder, and then after the murder, you need to do this.
Yeah. No, but she rips his heart right out, which I guess is some kind of valuable gem. And she explains that gems that lose their sparkle don't have value. And Rubens, I guess, she believes has lost his sparkle because he's not willing to do anything to save whoever his love is.
Well, I guess that's the end of that.
That's the end of that.
Yeah, the mouse detective is very upset by this development. And she got away again.
Yeah. The mouse detective seems obsessed with Sandra. At one point, mouse detective accused me of being Sandra and told me, I quote, to take those stupid sticks out of your hair, because the female sprite for the protagonist does have sticks in her hair.
My character is a boy and has like big fluffy hair and a stupid hat, and he did insult my terrible hat, which frankly that's deserved.
But he's no fashion icon himself. We have described him as frumpy several times.
I would wear that outfit. I think could rock that with the big Jansen collar. Oh, it's a great outfit.
Honestly, I think that you're right. And the next Comic-Con that we all go to together, let's pledge now to all wear Legend of Mana cosplay.
Okay, how horrifying could you make your Diddle?
Yeah, I will not take that
Vanessa,
pledge.
if you went as Diddle, how horrifying could you make it, do you think?
I think that because I don't want to paint my body to be gold or metallic, I would make a flesh-colored trumpet for my gramophone and just make it look like, human skin over the whole record player and everything. So that's how horrifying I would make it.
Wonderful. And you could also go as Tipo if you wanted.
Tipo's fantastic as well. And in fact, we're about to talk about Tipo. We have one more event to talk about first. That is Niccolo's Business as Usual, number 2.
No, say it correct.
Sorry.
Niccolo.
Niccolo's Business Unusual 2.
Exactly. And this one's another one of those like 2-minute ones, but it's so fun. I love this one.
Please tell it.
Okay, Niccolo asks if you can accompany him to these caves. They are in the Gatto Grotto, and he just needs like someone to go. Although I don't think you get attacked at all. So you escort him over to the Gatto Grotto, and you get over to the waterfall. I find sometimes the walkthrough we're using the directions, I like don't do them right, and I end up there anyways. Like
no,
they don't
it's
always
confusing.
make sense.
I spent a lot of time in the maps. I spent a lot of time looking for maps, and then I did find a Brady Games guide that was on the Internet Archive, internetarchive.org. Which I did download and put in Adobe, and it does have maps of the areas, which is pretty helpful. And I shared that with all of you, and I put it on the Facebook page.
Whoa.
I don't think that it is piracy because it does. I think that the Internet Archive is a legit site, isn't it?
No, anyone can.
Did you say archive?
Yeah, I do that.
Anyone can put whatever they want up there, and if the copyright holder doesn't take it down, it doesn't mean that it's legal. It just means that it hasn't been enforced.
Okay,
That is
you know
true.
what? That's good enough for me, guys. I put I put a link on the thing. Go download the old guide for the old PS version of this game. It's helpful. It's got lots of pretty art from the game, which is nice. And
Hold on, I say verbatime one time, and you all shit yourselves laughing.
I don't
Matt
think that
says
it's comparable.
archive,
I think
and nobody
that,
says
I think
anything.
that mispronouncing the CH in archive is a lot more understandable than pronouncing verbatim. Verbatime. Why is that eye?
I want a
Why is that a hard eye?
medium
Jim?
rare
There's no E at the end of the
verbatime
word.
with archives on the side, please.
So you get to the waterfall, and then you just get this really bizarre animation of Niccolo just like warping around the screen looking for stuff, which is like classic Final Fantasy kind of animation.
Yeah, it's like he's moving so fast that you can only see him when he pauses to rummage through a bush or something.
Oh, yeah.
So I couldn't figure out what to do. So I tried talking to him. He's like, I'm busy. So I walked to the next screen, then walked back, and I'm waiting around. And then I suddenly noticed, hey, in the middle of the screen, there's a fairy. She wasn't there before. So I do talk to the fairy, and she's like, what are you doing here? And I said, oh, I'm waiting for Niccolo. She's like, oh, interesting. And then Niccolo's like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm talking to a fairy. And he's like, there's no fairy here. And I guess he didn't see the fairy. He can't see the fairy.
He can't see the fairy.
Yeah, he doesn't believe, and he does find the bugs he's looking for, and so he's happy.
And that's kind of the end. The fairy's
That's the
just
end
like
of that.
curious. Yeah.
So I did go back to my house, as you do every time. Whispered what happened to the cactus, and it did say popo bugs are delicious or something like that. And,
Oh, wow.
yeah. But the next one has the most epic title. This event is called Tea Time of Danger.
I love that title. So good.
Did you tell Tipo that your name was Chubsy or Chumsy?
Yes. Early in the game, Tipo sees us and they're like, oh, I remember you. Your name is Chumsy. And then you can either say, that's right, or correct him. And I affirmed that I am Chumsy.
Correct her. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Yeah, so then characters will call you Chumsy throughout the game. Not everyone, but some people.
I love it. The game does describe her as a magical life form with a kind heart. She thinks she's a jewelry collector, but most of them are glass fakes that Niccolo sold to her.
Oh, sad. She is a teapot. There's no other way to put it. She's just like a big old Mrs. Potts, and she is Cockney.
She does have
Her face is like a nightmare. It's not a face. It's scary looking.
between her and Queen Quen, they both kind of have a similar look going on with nightmare faces.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
She also has like gigantic, muscular, like
yeah, she lifts.
Hulk Hogan arms.
She lifts.
Yeah. Her mouth is just like her lid kind of peeled back to form a mouth. And she doesn't have
Her
a
name
spout.
is Mrs. Potts. It's not that complicated.
No, I guess she could like spit it out. Oh, she does talk about how she loses, like she almost toppled or like sprayed, and she does like slosh a bit.
She does slosh a little bit.
Every
And
minute,
she has a beautiful golden handle.
every minute you're not
that's
reading
wonderful.
this character's dialogue in an Angela Lansbury
So
impression is a waste.
We put down this ancient medallion artifact. For those of you curious where we're getting these artifacts, they are rewards for the different missions we've been doing.
wait, you sure it's not as fuck?
It's ancient tablet AF.
Yep.
And that creates the Mindus Ruins. The Onion is at the entrance of the ruins and wants us to go look for Tipo.
This was a confusing dungeon, and how would you do this without a guide?
Well, I know I've done it, and I think it's just a lot of trial and error.
Well, I guess
Because-
so basically the thing of this dungeon is that there's sproutlings, and you can talk to them and they act as like gate levers, and you can make them switch positions when they like do a little dance and pose
Confusing.
for you.
One of them also has like telekinesis or something.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on?
I did not get this, and the guide was not very helpful. I fucking had to push my way through by just trying shit. It was not fun.
So their positions do relate to these like iron gates in different parts of the map. But I mean, I guess I could have figured it out, but I think as a kid, this would have been a stumbling block, or even as a young adult. Without a guide, this would have been a pretty tricky one to solve, maybe. But Vanessa did it without a guide, so who knows? But she is very smart.
I'm very smart. So we sort of wandered through this jungle. We opened gates. We talked to people who can teleport. We talked to people who can reveal staircases.
Hey, Vanessa.
Yes.
Do you know where you are?
Am I? I'm not. No, I couldn't. I don't want to die.
You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna die.
I thought John was going to pull a D's nuts joke, and I was really excited.
No.
Jim, you can't nod on a podcast. You got to vote for us, buddy.
You can at least
Jim's been
give us
really
like
quiet, and
I know. I
his
think
punishment.
I've got a song rhythm stuck in my
I think
head.
he's got AirPods in and is listening to music, which is a great idea.
I'm not listening to music.
Can you share your playlist with me?
No, Jim, get ready because I'm going to make you talk about the next thing as your punishment.
Are you?
For being quiet.
So you go through this ruins, and then at the end you do find Tipo, but Tipo is like, hey, there's like a bat on top of me, and you notice the bat does swing down and like gnaw on your face a little bit.
Well, Tipo like a real asshole in here because he's she leaves and she goes like, oh yeah, there's a blood-sucking vampire bat here. All right, see you later.
And it just like lands on your face and is like,
but it's also a sexy vampire lady.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa! It does turn into a sexy vampire lady in this boss battle. It's I liked the design of the sexy vampire lady. I thought it was fun.
Let's see
was a
it.
very
Drag
easy
it into
boss.
the notes.
Okay, one sec.
Oh, there's Watts. He's fun. Tipo is such a fucking creep, and this whole thing is so dumb.
I wish the thing that's tough about this game is that there's not much to talk about other than you go here and you do this thing and then this thing happens. There's no broader story implications for everything that's going on.
Well, so far, but that's
at least not that I understand.
I think that ties to the poor design of the implementation of this game. It's not telling you how any of this stuff ties together, but there does seem, from what I've read, to be a plot that we should understand for the most part.
I mean, in the spoilers that I've read for the game, they're 3 big arcs, but they're very small relative to the other stuff that happens. I don't know.
I like these notes.
Well,
I hope that every episode's like this. It's just a checklist. It's just 10 things that we do. How many events are there? 40?
Post a big picture of her name is Count Dovula.
Uh-huh.
And she does.
So she's not a bat.
No.
She's like a winged.
Yeah, look at all those
bird,
wings.
like a feathery
Yeah.
bird.
Yeah. And she's got a big jewel in her chest and weird bird wings and green hair. She kind of looks like an Akira Toriyama character. She's got that
Ooh,
look.
her feet are gross.
Yeah, her feet are cloven.
She's pretty sinister looking.
Yeah. She kind of looks like Devil Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Devil Lady? Is that what it was called?
Devil Lady. Let's talk. Jim, tell us about Mind Your Own Business, the next event.
I don't remember what happens at the beginning of this because I remember you're supposed to go look for Watts, right?
We're gonna make a new best
So
friend
you enter,
who's an old child.
Yeah, you enter the mines, and what's the name of the character that you meet when you first get into the shop? That's not. That's not it.
One sec.
Plam Lamp?
Legend of Mana Poet. It's the poet, right? Because they're a poet. And
No, that's not the poet
Yeah, it
in
is.
the shop at the beginning,
no,
is it?
it's Pokeel. Pokeel is the one.
Pokeel, that's right.
She's
And
or they-
Pokeel wants to. Oh,
he.
so the guide recommends that you take the little magician guy with you for this one.
Yeah, Bud.
Because he actually starts another event called the
Seven Wisdoms.
wisdoms, 7 wisdoms, and I guess like one of the wisdoms is
Pokeel.
this. It's not Pokeel, is it? I thought it was Watts.
Well,
No.
I thought it was Pokeel. Oh yeah, one of the according to this, one of the 7 wisdoms existing in the world of Fadil is Pokeel, and Bud is very excited to talk to Pokeel. Who, and I gotta say, Pokeel's poetry needs some work.
Yikes!
Wow.
What a critic.
That's a wisdom.
Yeah, but Pokeel's poetry kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's bad.
And Pokeel
Well,
admits it at one point too.
Yeah, Pokeel like wants to talk about Watts, I think, right? But Watts is missing. Is that what I understood is happening?
Yeah, Watts is missing.
Yeah. So you have to venture through the caves to go find Watts, and Watts is like staring at the corner of the boss arena and refuses to be bothered. And then and then you tell him that you're there to help him, and then he leaves and he's like, "Oh yeah, there's a really tough monster here, and this monster killed me."
Yeah.
And I was only saved by my small magician friend.
Yeah, my small magician buddy really saved me from this this thing. And I also had Vanessa with me, but Vanessa I think I need a better monster because Vanessa's getting killed pretty fast.
Yeah,
now.
my rabbit is not doing very well.
Yeah.
I don't want to die.
So yeah, you fight this like big flower monster, which I think was another boss from Secret of Mana, right? I feel like you fought a flower monster at some point.
There
does
is
look
like
familiar.
a flower boss that you fight like when you first get the little sprite guy in Secret of Mana. You fight that like a plant
that's what
boss.
I'm thinking of. Yeah. So it's like that. It's up on the ceiling and it drops down these. I guess you damage the boss by taking out its little tendrils one by one, but then you do have to fight the tendrils. And the tendril does this like it just stays still in the middle of the screen. And for whatever reason, I just would be like not noticing that and then walk next to it, and then it does this like area of attack spell that
does this?
just
Yes, that big
nuked
AoE.
me. It would just kill me
that
in
thing
one hit.
killed me.
It took a couple of tries for me to do this one, but at least the game is like an easy continue, so it's not a big issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Did we talk about how like there are save points set up like in the dungeons, and they're like the statues of the sprite from Secret
Oh
of Mana?
yeah,
Yeah. Which is really
That's
cute,
what
but
that
I do like
is.
Yeah.
that this version does autosave very generously, like
Oh,
basically
yeah, it
every
does.
screen. So it's really, I'm liking this remaster a lot. Oh, what's up? Okay.
Meow.
Yeah. So after this little boss fight, Watts, you warp with Watts back to his not lab. What would you call that?
His
His
shop.
shop, yeah.
Right?
And
This is like
Pokeel's
it's
there,
his bachelor pad.
and he does have a poem. Would you like to hear the poem Pokeel writes for Watts?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Oh, Watts, a small body under a great helm. He strikes with his hammer, and his great helm. Watts, our Watts, your soul is your great helm. Watts, our Watts. You haven't really done that much. The end.
Beautiful.
Wow.
So, I don't know if y'all have played old Final Fantasies, but Watts is a character from old Final Fantasy games, and Watts is in Adventure of Mana or Final Fantasy Adventure, and Watts is also in Secret of Mana, and probably in Trails, but Trials or Trails, whatever it's called, but I haven't played that one.
Yeah, Watts is a dwarf, we're told in Secret of Mana. I don't know if that applies here, but he's short.
he looks like a dwarf, but he is like a child. It's confusing.
Well, in the old Final Fantasy games, it was the old way of showing the dwarves where they had the big helmet and then like the shadowed face with the yellow eyes, a bit like Vivi.
No, he
And,
looks like a child for sure.
But now he looks like a child with a big, giant, angry mouth and is wonderful.
he's funny.
I will say I think my favorite like thing to look at in the game so far are the end cards after each event that show like an illustration of the like characters. Those are always so well done. They're really cool to look at.
Yeah, the art is beautiful.
So after that, we leave, go home, talk to our cactus, and then head right back to the mines again. And we go into Watt's workshop, and he is looking for his hammer. He's doing the Niccolo run around searching thing.
And Watts has some anger issues.
He certainly does seem to.
He doesn't want you there, and then he's like, oh, and I'm not going to teach you any crafting because I don't have my hammer, but if you do get my hammer, I will teach you crafting. And there's like a little signpost now at the beginning of the cave that will take you to the lair of these weird guys that just say like, what do they say?
Dub.
Doug, right?
Dub.
Doug.
Dub.
So you do go to the dugout. The Doug's dugout there.
They're called Dud Bears.
Dud Bears. Yeah. And they do there's a book there as well. There was a hammer in a book. I didn't want to touch the book because I figured it was going to trigger some other thing.
It's a poem book.
It is a poem book.
Yeah, you can read it, and then like you can read a little bit of the poetry in it, and then a character comes in and is like, "Don't read my poetry," and then he takes the book and leaves.
Was it Pokeel or a different one? Ooh, I'm hearing
No,
echo.
it's a different one. It's sort of like a big gorilla looking thing.
Yeah.
And but it does say like he's like, what do you think? And if you ask for more, he will tell you another poem and be very flattered.
Aw.
But they do have Watts's hammer. You grab it, you take it back. Bingo, bango, bongo, you're done.
Well, except Watts is like, what the hell are you doing with my hammer?
He does get really mad at you for a minute. It's weird.
He's got a very bad memory, which he can take advantage of.
Yeah. He's like, F you, hammer thief. And then you remind him he asks you to do it. Mm-hmm. So you head back home, and out behind your house is this workshop that was empty. But if you start to go in there, Watts is in there. He comes out and he says, I've completed the work that you requested me to do. And you're like, I did not request you to do any work. And he's like, F you, I can't believe you. But then recalls that he did it as a thank you and teaches you how to craft your own weapons and armor.
Yeah, I used one of the bugs that I found to add to my armor. I don't know if that's good or bad. I probably like locked away a quest and won't be able to finish the game or something.
There's no indication of what effect the items will have on your crafting before you use them. So that's why Jim and Matt are going to do a deep dive into crafting.
We're not going to do it tonight, but we are going to, starting next episode, we will have a Jim and Matt corner. Next week, Jim won't be here, so it'll just be Matt, but it'll be Matt's Monstar Corral corner. And Jim also will participate in the future, hopefully, Jim.
Jim is nodding.
Jim, again, please stop nodding.
Sorry.
He does leave you a piece of bronze, and then he's leaving. He's like, wait, I was going to give you a piece of bronze. Did I already give that to you? And I was like, no. And he gives you a second piece of bronze.
Oh, Johnny.
Oh, really? Wow, what a liar.
Yeah, you know what? I'm taking his abuse. I will take the free bronze.
Well, that's it for our first chunker of Legend of Mana. Next time, we will be playing chunkers 13 through 22.
According to what guide?
Legendofmana.info events.
What's the last event on there?
The last event is the Murmuring Forest.
Ooh.
We'll also be doing the Infernal Doll, the Lost Princess, Daddy's Broom, the Looking Glass Tower, the Gorgon Eye, Professor Bomb's Lab, Golem Go Make'em, Fairy's Light, Hunting Ducate, and the Murmuring Forest.
I think that the rating so far in this game... Oh, well, you know what? Actually, I'll save that for my Squarely Against.
Yeah. So that's it for this chunker. Now let's ask our friends what they are roundly for or squarely against Jim.
I will say I am roundly for the combat. The game is... all the dungeons are really fun to play, and I find the combat to be very satisfying. So yeah, it's pretty good so far, and I like using the abilities, and I have this sweet double jump that's pretty cool. And I like it. It's always a surprise when I learn new abilities because I don't understand how any of that works. But it's fun. Vanessa, what are you squarely against?
I am roundly for the look of this game. I love hand-drawn animation, and I think it's really beautiful and enjoyable, and I like it very much. Johnny, what are you squarely against?
I'm roundly for the writing. It reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy IX's writing, like just quirky and fun, not overdone, just very enjoyable to read.
Matt.
He's just sitting down.
What?
He was just having some peanut butter because Matthew got a little case of the hiccups.
You squarely against Matt. I'm trying to drag it out to allow him time to come back to his chair. But I don't believe he's actually headed back to his chair.
Roots Podcast for Legend of Mana. Matthew, are you roundly for or squarely? Someone's gonna have to do a Matthew impression.
Jim, Matthew impression.
I don't want to do a Matthew impression.
All right. I'm roundly for this game. I love it. Yay.
I think Matt would be squarely against the game not explaining how it works and giving you a introduction and just throwing you into the deep end.
That's a really good
I will say
insight into Matt.
Matt probably would be roundly for the monsters, though. He seems to be into that.
Yeah, that's true as well. Let's see. We have a few emails. Have I read this one about Pokemon from Bumpkins? I don't think I did. So, first email is from our friend Tabumpkins. Tabumpkins says, all us scooters know the Square Roots house loves a celebration, and what better way to celebrate than the 25th anniversary of Pokemon? Tabumpkins is interested in us doing a challenge run of Pokemon and suggests some unique rules that we could play by, like who could progress the furthest, who would have the least amount of deaths, and who would name the most Pokemon after Raul Esparza characters. These are the questions the internet is dying to find out. And I guess as so far as a question, I would say, what unique Pokemon rule would you guys choose if we were to do a Pokemon challenge?
I don't really know enough about Pokemon to answer this question, unfortunately.
Me either. I've never played a Pokemon, and every time a new version comes out, I don't understand the differences in that version or any of the other previous versions of Pokemon.
I am squarely against this question. The Pokemon rules I've seen, I know what that is, and none of them. That shit's terrible. Sorry. I have no interest in making it already like a game harder on myself. That ain't me, dog. Is there a rule that's like does as little as possible? Lowest percentage of completion. That's the rule.
What about that you can't eat all the fully loaded nachos?
Oh, yes. Yeah, you gotta have the rule about how you can't eat all the fully loaded nachos. And there's a rule where you have to call Spectrum and tell them that you don't care about Cough and Drop. The world's so
no, you do.
fucking
That
fucked
you love
up right
Cough
now.
and Drop.
Yeah, you gotta love Cough and
that's not
Drop.
what he
They
tells
can't get
people
rid
to
of
do.
Corn Cob TV.
It's not what he says to do.
My
Anyway.
rule would be that Matt stop mucking up my tables, because tables is how I make my living, and he gets them very dirty all the time.
Did you watch that sketch?
Bulls!
Or did you watch the whole thing, Vanessa?
Yes, I watched the whole thing.
Oh, that table sketch was great. What did you think of the restaurant sketch? I really liked that one.
I meant I watched the whole table sketch. I didn't watch the whole thing. And I never will. Our next email is from Miles, a.k.a. Rubber Bear, a.k.a. Deus Ex Machina Cheese. Miles says, "Hi from COVID-riddled England," which I guess means I get to do my best British accent, because that's
Please do.
respectful to our listeners, right?
I think that. Tell Rubber Bear that I got one of my suits from Invincible Rubber. He will know what I'm talking about.
Doesn't
He can hear all of us, John.
Yeah, he can hear you.
Is that how it
doesn't
works?
sound problematic at all, Vanessa. Go ahead and do your mockery of English people.
Okay, here we go. I just wanted to write you and say how happy this podcast has made me through what has been a stressful 18 months, Governor. I've been a listener since Secret of Mana, I am, and I
What?
always tried to play along each time. I skipped Lost Odyssey when it came out because it looks really drab in
Why
a
is she
way that
doing an
most games of
Australian
the
accent?
era. When you am I losing my British? Sorry, let me.
You didn't lose
try
it.
to-
You didn't. Where? You never found it. You found
That
Australia.
most games of the era, when you started it, I found a used copy for £4.
There it is.
So I thought, why not? It's turned out to be a very pleasant surprise. I
You will
won't be able
back.
to finish it with you, as I am fully vaccinated and currently in Kent visiting my parents and extended family. How delightful. Despite not finishing it
Vanessa,
yet...
I don't
could
think
you tell
can say
Rubber
that
Bear?
word on the internet.
Could you tell Rubber Bear that my mom grew up in Chatham?
Rubber Bear, Jonathan's mother grew up in Chatham, don't you know? Pitch posh. Rubber Bear also asks, he says, despite not finishing the game, it's been an unexpected delight. I agree. And asks us, what have been your biggest gaming surprises and disappointments, either as part of the podcast or outside it?
Chrono Cross was amazing. That was a shocker.
I'm trying to think. Like, which ones? I know there's a couple I thought I would hate that I ended up liking. Oh, yeah, that I ended up liking Final Fantasy VIII in the end. I didn't love it. Or, and you know what I think was another big one? Was understanding what happened in Final Fantasy VII, because I thought it was just all nonsense. And then finding out that there is an actual coherent story there, buried under a bad translation. And also, that I really liked Detroit Become Human in Final Fantasy VII Remake in the end.
7 Remake is really good.
You liked
I will
Detroit
say that
Become
I...
Human? Ooh.
Yeah.
Canceled.
Remember, I think one of my... It wasn't necessarily a surprise how disappointing it was, but remember how terrible The Quiet Man was?
Hey, yeah. That's what I was thinking along the same lines. Remember how great The Quiet Man was?
I still have
That
the,
game wasn't racist
the
at
dad
all.
character from that game as my PSN avatar.
I have mommy girlfriend as my PSN avatar.
Good stuff.
I hope that answered your questions there, Rubber Bear. Oh, sorry, Vanessa, could you tell Rubber Bear that I hope that answered his questions?
Rubber Bear Johnny hopes that answered your questions. And we have one final email. Can you believe it? It's an embarrassment of riches. This one is from Chris Haynes. Chris Haynes is taking a road trip while traveling through Greece and found our podcast to listen to while he scooted up and down that beautiful coastline. I can only imagine the white buildings with the blue domed roofs and the ocean.
The Euros, the
the
chicken
gyros.
Slovakis, the Oompa
Pork
when they serve
souvlaki.
you the grape leaves.
Fish,
The fried cheese that's not like cheese sticks, but just like a big old chunk of cheese that's breaded and burned in front of you. You eat it while it's still crispy.
Baklava.
I expected a reaction from Jim out of that because I took him to a restaurant that did all of that, but he's dead to the world over there.
I couldn't remember what I ordered, or else I would have said that.
I think you had a Euro. I had a Euro. They do a good Euro.
No,
there.
I didn't.
It'd be like
I
a
had
chicken.
a thing, and then they brought me out a different thing, and I had to say I actually got the other thing, and then I had to wait for the other.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember what you got. It was like a chicken Slovaki. Ugh, so fucking
good.
good. There's like a little Greek town by me, and it's just one like tourist trap street, and there's 100 amazing restaurants on it.
Chris is listening to Chrono Cross, the series, and says it's one of his favorite games. And someone mentioned the Venture Brothers during one of those episodes, and he loves that TV show.
It at the time.
Yeah, so he thinks that we have excellent taste. He wants to know, have you ever done any episodes on non-Square games? I would love to hear an episode of any of the Breath of Fire games, Wild Arms 2 for 3, I Am Setsuna, Legend of Dragon, or Suikoden 2.
We
Respectfully,
did.
Chris.
I wish I Am Setsuna was old enough for us to do, because I think that is a really good game, if not very bleak.
We did Dragon Quest, but neither Jim nor Vanessa was present for it, and it was John and I and disgraced former co-host Stan.
Our lovely friend, Dr. Steven Stone.
But we will be doing Dragon Quest next, right? After Legend of Mana?
Yeah, but that's now a Square game because Square bought Enix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but
Right.
it's not a Square game. It's just now published by Square.
That's true. We did play a bunch of non-Square games like Lost Odyssey and Suikoden 1, but not 2 yet. And
We played Legend of Zelda
Star.
Ocarina of Time. We played Bard's Tale.
Yep. Fallouts. Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, we've done several BioWare games. Mass Effect, Elder Scrolls is not BioWare. Mass Effect, Dragon Age.
Dragon Age, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots. We sort of go on. We do a lot of Square games because there's frankly a lot of Square RPGs.
BioWare should make an awesome like World War II RPG. That should be their next thing. They've done sci-fi, they've done fantasy. What should they do? Like
Time
real
travel.
history. Do like a World War II
Time
RPG,
travel, yeah.
and like it could have like how Xenogears has the mechs. It could have that, but they would just be like panzers basically, just tanks. That's guys.
I want to play a fun horror RPG. That's why I really want to play Shadow Hearts, but I think that's going to be tough.
$1 million
for us.
idea. Actually, Jim, you've got that. Also, is an excellent idea. Ooh, they could do a Western. Like, there's lots of classic genres. You've done 2 of them. Branch out. Do a fucking Western.
Like a Good Son RPG.
Oh, yeah,
where
do a Good
Elijah
Son
Wood is the
RPG.
player
Yeah.
character.
You could co-op with Mr. Mr. Highway? Or
Mr. Highway!
what if you had a Good Son, Bad Seed game? So it was like Brian the kid.
Brian Boitano is the Olympic figure
Yeah,
skater.
Brian Boitano and Home Alone get together to kill people.
Home Alone.
Brian
Macaulay
Boitano. Who are you
Culkin
trying to talk
and
about?
Elijah Wood.
The kid from Family Ties was in one of those like killer kid movies. You know who I'm talking about? He was the one who played Alexander in Star Trek The Next Generation.
Alexander was
don't know
played
that.
by legitimately like 4 different actors.
Brian Bonsall, I think, is the correct name.
Not Brian Boitano.
Anyway,
Can
we play a
finish
lot.
this?
Let's finish. Is Vanessa gone?
Let's finish. I'm still here. Hello. Now is the time to read the names of patrons.
Nope.
What?
Now is the time to say what our Patreon is. Jim?
Patreon. I think our listeners are probably familiar with what a Patreon is, but our Patreon, if you were to subscribe to it, there's hours and hours of wonderful Square Roots content. We've got some cool level up episodes. We've got some instant classics on there where we talk about a newer game that we've played and whether or not it's an instant classic. We've got some Square Roots versus where we play just kind of like a random game and then kind of talk about how we feel about it. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. If you want to subscribe to it, and another benefit, I guess, is that at the $5 level, you get the ability to vote on games that we play for the regular episodes. We open that up a few times a year. If you would like to subscribe, you can do so at patreon.com/SquareRootsPodcast.
Like
and a benefit that we give all of our patrons is that every week we read a smattering of usernames from our Patreon. And I'm going to kick us off this week by thanking Rolled Earth, Stephen Paget, Paul Bursch, Alex Dillard, Joseph, Wash in the Wind, Andy M., Knopford, George Brady, and Michael Crawford.
No, I would like to thank Jameson. OMG, what is this game? Mary, Queen of Scoffs, T. Jethro. I've come to realize that the ring system is very much the same practices to use when fisting. No, that's good. Okay. Sean Gonzalez, Mixed a Batch, Dr. Fine, Say Everyone's Name, T. Bumpkins is gonna need an amnesia stone after walking in on Sexy, Horny, Grandma, and Mama's Little Hype Boy.
You tell him, Mama. Go, Mama, go.
Go, Mama, Mama, go. Go, Mama,
I'd like
go,
to thank
Mama, go.
Andy Vest, Citrusy, Gaige, La Charité, Verbatime Burger Time, Chris Penyak, Huxley Iguana, The Ben with 1,000 Years of Hats, Sean Walsh, Little Baby, Sexy, Horny, Fresh-Eyed, Grandma, and Florian Jonas Kramer.
And I would like to thank the RPG Luminary, Ryan Miller, Go Cry Wolf, Nick, Eric Garby. Sign up for the hottest Kellolon Bear Party.
Well, you know, Kellolon's a big problem in the bear community that is not talked about enough.
Oh, okay. Jake Dickerson, David Green, I Am Immortal, I Have Inside Me the Blood of Kime, and David Pascal.
All right, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to send us an email to have read on the air, our email address is squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. We have a Facebook group. It's called the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you are a new Spotify listener and you would like to listen to some previous seasons, do a look around the internet and find our podcast other places.
I like how vague that is. There is a link in the show notes, though.
Oh, okay.
Go to
That's
Apple
nice.
Podcasts, go to the Google Play Podcasts, go to the Libsyn address, and download them individually if you prefer.
You can even go to YouTube if you want to.
You can go
Yeah,
to
the last episode didn't post. YouTube's a little iffy. It sometimes doesn't post. I don't know why.
You can go to Vanessa's mom's house, and
Don't go to my mom's house.
she'll probably make you cookies or something.
No, she will not.
Thanks to Stephen Morris for creating the brand new Square Roots theme. We hope you all like it, and we all think it's pretty awesome.
All right, everyone, for Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Longboy Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa.
Bye.
Bye.
It looked like Matt was smoking a cigar for a second. the Shy Guys show up. I guess they show up at 4:44 every afternoon.
What?
Remember how yesterday I said there were Shy Guys in my Mario Game & Watch? And they showed up
Oh,
again.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I guess it's
Cool.
just at 4:44.
It's funny that we're recording at the same time 2 days in a row too.
Yep.
And it's like it's early. I'm glad. Let's get through this. We should finish up around 9, and then I can play some fucking Pokemon.
Yeah, fun.
I did a lot of
so-
Cyberpunk this morning. It was fun. It's Cyberpunk boy. That's me.
I miss Cyberpunk.
It's
a
fun.
good game.
Meh.
I hate to say it, but it's a good game.
Did you guys see that screenshot I sent of the smart
I
weapon with the
did.
little
Yeah,
bullet
that was
AI
amazing.
that talks to you?
It looked like
it's
Miss
so
Minute
good.
or whatever that cartoon from. Looked
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where did you
it's
get
amazing.
that gun?
You find it when you're doing one of the side jobs, and you pick it up, and it
Great.
talks
What's
to
the
you
side
and makes
job,
you choose
please?
a setting. I don't remember.
Go back and find out.
It's pretty great. You like shoot it when you're like killing people. It has like dialogue that
name?
comes up and Skippy, and there's like dialogue like most murders are committed by men, just like you. Or if you're a woman, it will say most murders are committed by men. You go, girl.
Girl boss. Hashtag girl boss.
Yeah, it's got really fun dialogue.
It sounds like a great friend.
Yeah, it's a good weapon friend.